Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, go by Jeremy on Discord.
Welcome and thank you for joining. So quick announcements. Parker, you are down to 1,473 probationary episodes.
And I'm quite confident I'm going to take some chunks out of that today with some good betting. I think I'm going to.
Oh boy!
I think I'm going to take some good bets today.
Parker, what do you think your probationary episodes would be at if you didn't bet ever?
Some good betting going on today. That's all I got to say.
Okay, all right, we're going to move past it.
He's like the guy who goes, "Yeah, I'm about even."
Yeah. I think I'm doing. I'm about to get the upswing.
I'm about even.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the only announcement we have. Parker, what's next?
Oh, news.
Hey,
news! Yes. News!
So, first bit of news is the affiliation list has been updated, and oh man, has it been updated! For the record, everyone listening at home, there are 4 characters that have been released, and somehow these 4 characters, I think, have changed up this affiliation list more than any 4 characters that have been released in this game. So, taking a deep breath, Beta Ray Bill is going to be in Asgard, which makes perfect sense, and in Guardians of the Galaxy. No big splash there, right? We knew exactly that, right? Precisely that. Cool.
Yay.
Now let's talk about the guy who's releasing with him. Ulik the Rock Troll. Not in Asgard. Instead, he is in Cabal, I guess, right? And Criminal Syndicate.
Uh-oh.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Why did we think he was going to be in Asgard?
We just assumed because he's an Asgardian. He's from one of the. He's not from Asgard.
But Malekith's not in Asgard, right?
Right, he's not, and he's not from Asgard. Different plane. Yeah, different realm.
So I guess that was I just didn't really. I guess I didn't think he was going to be an Asgardian. So
I guess we just assumed because. Actually, I don't know, but I think everybody just kind of assumed it. I guess because
I don't think it made a lot of sense.
Well,
there's he's with Beta Ray, so Asgard. You're like, and Beta Ray isn't even an Asgardian, so
I think
neither of those people are
Cabal,
Asgardian or from Asgard.
I think Cabal would be an easy throw, right? That makes some sense.
Yes.
But I don't know if anybody was going to call Criminal Syndicate, or as I put it in the Discord, that international cut purse Ulik finally in Criminal Syndicate. I don't understand. Nobody understands, I guess, really.
Well, I know you get touchy when we talk about who's in Criminals, so we're just going to leave it alone.
I don't like it. I guess. Well, I guess I'll just say this, having nothing to do with the fluff. This is my first and only question for you guys. Does he replace Juggernaut in a Criminal Syndicate list? Yes or no?
For me, no. I don't think I'd take Ulik and Juggernaut for the same reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are willing to pay 5 cost, he does let you do it in faction, so you could take some 3 costers out of faction. But
so the problem I have is he's fairly power hungry. He has 2 3-cost actions. He gets 2 a turn, and his best thing about him is probably his spender
and his movement. He does have a lot of movement.
Sure, but I mean, I don't know where you're getting this power, right?
He does gain 2 a turn, so he does a turn 2, and still picks up something.
Right, so you can come in with the leap on turn 2, but if your 6-die attack doesn't do 4 damage, how are you fueling your kit for the rest of the game? I see him being very power. He's like Rhino without the card, right? Sure, if he gets 6 power a turn, he's a monster, but he's not going to get 6 power a turn. So, it's actually hard for your opponent to deal enough damage to him to give him that much power.
I guess my roundabout point for this was they put him in Criminal Syndicate. It seems, because I don't see the fluff reason, it seems like they put him in there for a meta reason, to give criminals access to him, but I don't see criminals playing him unless, for a meme or for a lark or to give it a shot. But when Rhino exists, when Juggernaut exists, and one of those, Rhino's already in criminals, I don't see people playing
pointers. For 5 pointers, really, we're looking at MODOK, right? He's very different than MODOK.
Yeah.
But as for unaffiliated characters, I think he's worse than Juggernaut noticeably, because the whole point of Juggernaut is that he has power and he's very resistant to control.
Yes,
This guy has neither of those things.
exactly. I am totally with you. So
Yeah, I don't think this was for game balance reasons. I think this was some, I don't know, inside knowledge on some obscure storyline that like, or maybe there's just something about like his character, like he likes to take things, like he's like a greedy troll or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems very obscure. I was not expecting it, and I still find it odd.
this is kind of like Deadpool and Avengers. It's the same kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I guess, kinda, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't think. I can't think of a reason to play him in Avengers.
If
Nor
he's-
can I
yeah,
think
if-
of a reason for him to be in Avengers. I guess. Okay.
If he's gonna be in Criminals, he should be in 7 affiliations, not like 2.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make like Deadpool being in Avengers means Deadpool should be in all affiliations, basically.
Because he's been in every comic book ever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Wolverine in hindsight. Like Spider-Woman's in 5 affiliations, but Wolverine's in 3.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Like really?
Well, spoiler alert: Spider-Woman's in a lot of affiliations. Can I tell you which ones they are now that you've said 5? Here we go.
Shit.
Let's start with. I was about to say let's start with the ones that don't matter, but they all do a lot.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Here we go. It's A-Force, Avengers. She's also in Shield, Web Warriors, Hydra, and what am I
I
missing?
think that's it.
Did I say all
Avengers,
5? Yeah.
A-Force, Shield, Web Warriors,
Hydra.
That's
Yeah,
5.
that's it. I got them all. I memorized it. I'm not
job.
looking at the list because as soon as it happened, I was like,
I'm not looking at the list while obviously reading.
Well, I was double checking it, but the way
Mm.
the way it's like, if you look at the PDF, it's now like Shield starts and then finishes on the other
Mm.
page and stuff. But yeah,
But the important thing to know is he's not reading them
I remember.
while
what I'm
referencing
saying
the
is,
location of the words.
what I'm saying
know,
is,
I'm
I
just
didn't
fucking with you.
memorize which affiliation, so I couldn't count it as I was reading it on the paper.
Yeah, you're good. I was just fucking with you. I hate this.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite part about this game.
Okay, I want to do I want to do a flip side of a coin. I want you to start with the bad side, but I think there's a flip side for the sake of our listeners. Go ahead, go though. I agree with your bad side. Go for it.
Okay. I think there's some like mindset in the company that they need to create these meta staples and make them accessible to everyone so everyone has access to a specific thing. But what it ends up doing is stagnating the meta and creating broken models. Now, I don't think Spider-Woman's going to be particularly broken, and she's not going to like dominate the entire game or anything. But I think it does make the game a lot less interesting when the game becomes put Voodoo, Black Cat, and Spider-Woman in your list, then decide what you want to do. Like, that's not fun. That's actively unfun. Why does this keep happening?
Mhm.
Other than they feel that this is needed. Like, if you want this effect to exist in the game and be accessible, just print it on multiple people. Like, that's fine. We used to do that. Like, how many characters had an attack that forced people to drop stuff? Like, Miles was like the go-to.
That was the one.
And then but they started adding other people that kind of did it too. And it is a rare ability, and even Spider-Woman now has it. Like the Bow to the Will of MODOK thing. Like they're like, okay, well, we're just going to start putting this on like one person in each affiliation, and if you want to have mind controllers, you can have it.
Mhm.
And now there's 12 or 15 characters that have Bow to the Will of MODOK effectively.
Mhm.
And that's fine. But why do we need Spider-Woman in every affiliation? Why does this character need to exist like that?
Yeah, the thing for me, I'll do I'll jump on with you in the bandwagon. I really like the word you used in your first post in Discord about it, which is it almost feels when you take a turned character that's obviously like a 4.5 cost character, right? You have a turned character, and then you put her in all these factions. It no longer feels like variety. It feels like a mandate. As a player, I go, oh man, how am I going to make sure to build my list around Spider-Woman? Because now, whereas before I kind of struggled to do a combination lists with Shield or Hydra, because Shield and Hydra had a lot of great 3-pointers, but not a lot of great 4-pointers. But now I can very easily put her in as my 4-point Hydra or Shield model, and then easily flip over with my other characters slots into something like Avengers, and feel really great about it, especially in a faction like Shield.
Yeah.
The fact that she's a 4-pointer and she allows the bridge to happen between so many, or like I was just thinking, Aaron's favorite new Web Warrior Avengers list, Captain America Web Warriors, she's now bridges that too.
Yeah.
And she benefits great from Cap. So it's like there's so many things about her that make her feel mandatory rather than accessible or like useful. Kind of like the way Black Cat feels.
I absolutely don't understand any logic at all of putting her in Avengers. Like, I don't care that, like, she might be supposed to be an Avenger. Doctor Strange isn't an Avenger. Like, come on. Like, there's no logic behind putting her in Avengers when it's already the most overcrowded affiliation with the most meta models in it that you could ever want.
I'll give you the opposite. There is absolutely no comic book history whatsoever of Spider-Man being an A-Force. Like, I've read all the A-Force comics that have ever been printed by Marvel, and I think maybe she shows up in the back of a panel once. Like, she doesn't feature as a character in any of them, but they put her on one of the first cards they printed, and so now they put her in the faction. But the point I'm saying is they're obviously making semi-arbitrary decisions about where she goes. It's not just canon. So if that's the case, you could choose not to put her in Avengers, like you said. Like, even if she's been a great Avenger for many comics, they could definitely choose her not to put in Hydra. She was absolutely a Hydra sleeper agent for a long time in the comics universe, but you don't have to put her in Hydra.
Like, they have a card sleeper agent, don't they?
Yeah.
That literally makes them affiliated.
A sleeper agent, yeah. And she's in Web Warriors. They definitely don't need to put her in Web Warriors. Like,
wait, does it actually mean that you can't play sleeper agent on her now?
Right. You could not play.
Can you play it on an affiliated model?
I don't think you
I'm gonna
can.
check.
Go ahead and look.
Non-Hydra affiliated.
Yeah.
That's stupid. They actually counter-synergied themselves by giving her Yeah.
So that's the negative side. It just feels mandatory. It feels arbitrary. Like you said, it feels like they're pushing a push model harder than they could possibly push. How far can we push her? I will then now give the other side of the coin, which is to anybody who's getting into this game right now and excited to play multiple factions. If buy the Spider-Woman and Venom kit, and you will have a great character that lets you bridge multiple affiliations. If you start playing Avengers and you want to bridge into Web Warriors, now you've got an awesome little bridge to help you start that. If you want to bridge into Shield because you like the humans and all that kind of stuff, you can easily now bridge from Avengers into that. You could, before, but now you can do it even better. So, like, as a player who's starting to play the game right now, as a player who just wants to play a more flexible version of the game where they get to do lots of different things with their one, list of 10 characters or however many they have in their collection, she definitely is just an awesome boon for people who want to play lots of things with a small collection. So,
Jeremy, what's your opinion?
That is a good thing for anybody who wants to play a lot of affiliations with a small collection of models. That is something.
I think that there's a lot being made of this, and I think it really is very, very small. I don't think it matters that much whatsoever. I think that there's 140 models out now and a million things you can do. I think that if you're taking a 4-point model, great, go for it. Like, best of luck with it. I find that most of the things in the game are important are 3-point models and 5-point models. Yeah, I mean, she'll be helpful here and there. I think that they placed her everywhere. I just don't care that much. I think that she's a good model. I think that now that there's a ton of shit where things can just steal, I think a year ago, if she would have came out, we kind of would have gone, oh shit, what's happening? But we already see now that the game is now evolving into a thing where extracts are like an ebb and flow, man. You don't just have to kill a model. Like, you can just take them now, depending on what you're doing. I think that now that Rhino has come out and we've all kind of seen what happens, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think she's a big deal at all. I don't think she's a sign of anything to come.
I think she will definitely have her time. I think there will be this, especially like the first part of this con season, a lot of major tournaments, maybe the next TTS league where she's legal. I have a feeling that she's going to show up a lot. She'll be the new hotness. I'm hopeful, like you are, Jeremy, that it won't be the thing that defines the meta forever. But
I don't think she's going to be that impactful. However, I just don't like... She clearly looks like the next generation of 4-point models. so I don't know that she'll be the king of it or anything, but I think it's something to note. And I just don't like when there's a model that comes out that's clearly standout, even if not like, overpowered, that is going to have a lot of important mechanics and a lot of important tactics cards. And it feels like they're almost telling us you should play this. And that feels a little bit like what's happening here. And it doesn't feel as bad as Black Cat, because Black Cat was like hitting us over the head with it, and Voodoo also. And so I don't like it when the game devolves into, okay, well, we're playing a scenario game with an even number of tokens, and my list has 2 people that steal. So what do you do? And you're like, well, I guess I play 2 people that steal or I lose the game. And you're like, that is correct. So have fun. And you're like, fucking Christ, this is not fun. Like, it just devolves into like, a game of war where we're just continually escalating the same mechanic until one person has an advantage.
To put, because I don't want to totally ignore him because I mentioned it just the once. Ancient Venom obviously is part of the pack as well.
Before we move on, sorry, I wanted to respond to your collection point.
Oh yeah,
I thought you had something else.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with that, just from the concept of this is probably the easiest miniatures game in the history of the world to get into for a new player, due to the affiliation packs and the core set price point. Like, I don't think there's a strong argument that like buying Spider-Woman and Agent Venom are going to make it noticeably easier if you start playing the game. But that's just my opinion. So yeah. I just want to give that.
Oh, I don't think it's like the second pack you buy, maybe, but I do think anybody, I guess, as a phase 2 player, not a phase 1, I'm just trying to learn the mechanics, but as a phase 2, I'm trying to get more affiliations, put my hands into more pots. It would be a nice way to start expanding, I think. Because Ancient Venom also, on that note, is in S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. So he also is in S.H.I.E.L.D. with Spider-Woman. He's also in Web Warriors with Spider-Woman. And like we imagined, he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians of the Galaxy got 2 new members, both 4-costers, which is something that's kind of rare. I see kind of rare there, but nobody looks for Gamora or Ronan usually in his 4-cost form. So, and a personal note, I love that my A-Force got a cool character that's an interesting 4-cost mobile character, and I love that Guardians got 4-cost characters. I'm really excited to play Guardians and A-Force, but I was already excited to do that, so I didn't need help.
Yeah, I'm not very high on Agent Venom. I don't know. He just seems extremely dice dependent, which scares me.
I like him in Guardians because he's mobile. That's really, we'll see.
Yeah, he's definitely not bad.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't really released anything bad in a while. Like, everything's been pretty damn good and cool and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. But they don't really release a lot of duds.
I'm waiting for another Electra. We haven't had one, so.
Electra's might be the last model that's like actively hated.
Mm. It's funny, you say hated. I don't know if anybody has hate for her. It's more just like instant disregard.
I hate her. I'm so glad. I'm happy that she was. I hate the Electra character. I'm happy that she's not like a meta bender.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I've actually been shanked the fuck out of by her before. Like, someone played her, and like she hit me so hard, I was like, "What in the hell?"
Yeah.
I have never seen her deal a damage, and I played 2 games with her in it.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it just because you hate her so much? You're like, get away. How dare you?
No, I think she walked up, blanked out, which isn't the model's fault, right? It was just bad roll. And then she just died. And then she was never a priority to activate. And so she just died again, like later the next round. I was like, oh, okay, bye. People are like, you should take Electra in Convocation. I just like delete the conversation that they sent me the message in. Like, goodbye. I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. Our other bit of news is that we got a new character spoiled. He is
teased.
Yeah, teased. Spoil? What were you teased? Yeah.
Spoil means we have the information.
Oh, that's right. Right. Spoil would be complete.
They're tickling us with it.
Yeah, this is just an awesome model in a diorama, and we got his page up on Asmodee's website. The Immortal Hulk. So the only little blurb that we know is that he probably stays around for a little while. He's got some staying power, quote unquote.
Well, so I was actually dissecting this a little bit, and they say specifically that he has. Hold on, I don't want to misquote it. Let me pull it up. It is eternal staying power, but they also start off the blurb by saying, take your destruction to the next level. So at first I was like, oh, so he's just going to be an unkillable model, kind of like Bob, that's like annoying. But then the more I read it, I'm like, this guy just might be the next power level of model. And so I'm thinking he might be like the next Dormammu.
That would be interesting.
They could go big with him, yeah.
I think they've learned enough after their previous releases of 7 and 8 point models that they're willing to take another shot above 6 points.
We oh, interesting. So I'm reading the back. I've realized they had the back of his box here. I'm looking at the back of his box. They call it the Green Gate, but I thought it was called the Green Door in the comics. But they're calling it the Green Gate here. But I mentioned the Immortal Hulk series a couple of different comic corners ago, and the idea is that every time anybody with radiated superpowers dies, they come back through. I thought it was the Green Door, but they're calling it the Green Gate on this box. The idea is that gamma radiation, we don't understand exactly how it works, and it actually has mystical properties. And one of those things are that allows any being suffused with gamma radiation to come back to life after it's gone to like this limbo state. And so that's why all of these, Hulk characters and Hulk-like characters keep coming back, is because they actually can't die as long as they're able to keep going back through the Green Gate.
Nice.
And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they get caught, and that's the point of the Immortal Hulk series, is Bruce and all the other Gamma characters learning about this other side that all these Gamma characters go to, with this plane of existence, and what happens if it's messed with. And that's really what the Immortal Hulk series is about, is one of the big Hulk's big bad guys messes with that cycle. So we'll see.
Yeah, so things we know for sure, he comes with 2 tactics cards. He is $40. He's got a sweet base, and I like the sculpt better. So obviously it's a newer sculpt, so it's going to be better. But I like the flat top Hulk more than I like the shaggy.
That is
Ruffalo hair.
Yeah, that's a big nod to the art from the Immortal Hulk for sure.
It looks great. It's very crisp.
Yeah, everything I'm looking at Marvel, I just went double checked. It's not called the Green Gate anywhere in Marvel. It's called the Green Door. So these guys
legally different.
So I was going to make a big bet that I think he's going to come back with one of his tactics cards, and it was going to be called the Green Door. But now the back of this box calls it the Green Gate. This makes me upset and nervous. I don't think I can bet.
I wonder if this might also be an Ultimate Encounter. Then it's like you have to deal with like the gate or whatever. I don't know. I do know that on the back it calls him "Horror Has a Name" as like the catchphrase on the back. So I assume he's like the bad guy in the Immortal Hulk series.
Well, I mentioned this when I talked about the comic corner. It's very much a grotesque story. It's about like the grotesque, rather than being a Hulk versus self, which is usually what it is, Banner versus like himself. This one is very much like everything's a horror kind of genre. Even his transformations look terrifying and gross and weird. Like they're not. It's not like a friendly sit you down and become a big green guy Hulk smash. It's more.
Sun's not getting low yet.
Yeah, it's very, very. Well, it's more like the Thing. Like the way the art style makes the Hulk look more like the Thing rather than Bruce Banner's original like variety of Hulk. So, yeah.
Cool. God,
Jeremy,
I'm still in shell shock over LVO and Hulks. Like just the number of people and just in general, Hulk is so goddamn good. I just of all the things, like we need another fucking thing like that. I'm sure it's different. I'm sure, you know what I mean? There only can be one Hulk, so this one will be different, and hopefully it, is like an 8-point model, 7-point model, and does something cool.
I think Hulk's in a pretty good place right now, honestly. Like, he's obviously a meta piece.
Yeah.
But I think Hulk needs to have a place in the meta where he's kind of feared, but not oppressive. I think they did a really good job with the rework.
I like him. I like him because he's still like I can make a list and plan on it being able to deal with the Hulk, and it happens. That's my favorite version of a super big model. Is when I go, okay, this model is super duper good. I need to have a plan. But if I make this plan, it should work. That's what I like about a big model.
Yeah, you just need a little bit of a plan. It's
Mhm.
fine. I just don't need another boogeyman. Like,
Right.
to me,
Yeah.
Hulk is the boogeyman.
I didn't feel that way about Malekith pre-nerf. I feel more about it now.
Cool. Alrighty, what else we got?
That's the news. That's as far as I
They
know.
changed
Alright.
Bob. You get
Oh,
to,
yeah.
you get to throw Bob.
Do we want to go through the erratas? We can do the erratas.
I mean,
Well,
they're just
yeah,
a little
I-
couple things.
I actually
I can run
don't
through
know.
them.
I actually didn't go through the erratas. What is?
No problem. I will run them down for
Mhm.
you. So first of all, they changed Sam's leadership again. I'm not actually sure what specific thing they hit now. I can read the final result for you real quick. But it was officially updated because it shows as blue. Just centering it here so I can actually read it. New leadership. When an allied non-grunt character is dazed or KO'd by an enemy effect, choose another non-dazed allied character. After the effect is resolved, the chosen character removes 1 damage, 1 special condition, and may advance short. A character can be affected by this leadership ability only once per round. And now I remember what it was. It no longer affects Sam when he dies. Because it used to say when this character or an allied character is dazed or KO'd. Which means, much like Wolverine's get out of my head rule, if he is KO'd by the attack, it will not have an effect. And so they've nerfed it by making it enemy effect. They nerfed it by making it after the attack resolves. They nerfed it by making it non-grunt, and now they've nerfed it by not affecting Sam on the KO. So it's had 4 separate nerfs so far.
Mhm.
For Bob, Agent of Hydra, they've changed the timing on his dazing. Now he is dazed after the attack is resolved, instead of being dazed as part of the attack. And so he's alive when damage is resolved, so you can pass a negative effect from yourself to the enemy.
Does it?
Ah.
And I believe it lets you throw him, not your opponent anymore.
No, it's still resolved by the enemy. I can confirm that. The throw is resolved by the player controlling the target character.
The target
Not the
character.
attacking character,
Okay, I
yeah.
gotcha. So it was
but yeah,
specific
so-
to Shield. Okay,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
Hydra, I guess.
Or
yeah,
Hydra.
not
Yes,
Shield.
Hydra.
Yeah. Well, there's other things that it could matter on, but yeah. It's relevant. But they basically just changed the timing of the throw. Then let's see here. Which is actually important. Oh, I bet you that's why they actually did it. So there used to be an issue if Bob was injured and fired his gun, you would actually be KO'd before the damage resolution step, which would cause the attack to end in the middle of the attack, so you actually wouldn't deal damage. It was technically a loophole in the rules. And so rules as written, Bob on his injured side could not deal damage with excessive violence because he would become dazed before the attack resolved.
Rules is written, but I've never seen
Yeah.
anybody play it that way. But that's
Nobody plays it
technically-
that way.
yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Hmm.
The next errata we have is Ironbound Books of Shuma Gorath has been errated. Are you ready for this, Parker?
Yeah.
They changed the type to reactive because it was a typo. Moving on. We're all like, big nerf guy. Oh,
Whoa,
shit.
big time.
Escort to Safety has been errated. This is actually a game impacting errata. They've changed the second sentence to say if at the end of the push the target character is outside of the attack range or line of sight, the attack ends. It
So you
used to
lose the
say
attack.
it used to say the attack action ends. Now it says the attack ends. So now functions correctly on non-action attacks like So Many Snacks and I've Got Your Back. The third sentence still exists, saying that they get their action back.
Interesting.
Got it.
Well, that's all good stuff. Okay.
Mostly just cleaning up some weird issues and then nerfing Sam again.
Anytime you can nerf Sam is fine.
Mhm.
That's fine with me. Yeah, all good. All right, so that's going to wrap up the news. We're going to move on now. Currently playing. So what are you guys working on? You got any new spicy stuff?
Parker.
I am still staring kind of at A-Force, wondering if I can do anything with them. I actually realized that in my last big painting shipment from my painter that I got in, I actually got everything I need to play Convocation. And I know you've played a bunch, Jeremy. Not Jeremy, Brandon, sorry. But
Not me.
Yeah, not you. But I thought I might give him a whirl here for like local stuff, but I'm pretty sure I'll keep looking at A-Force and tweaking it. Honestly, I think when the next release comes out for this release with Spider-Woman, is I may just like drop all pretense of being anything except A-Force because it already basically is, and just plan on doing it. So I'll have enough maneuverable models. I don't know if I'll care about going wide at all anymore. But or if I would, I just won't play She-Hulk and try that. But I think it'll be A-Force primarily if I need to be called in to do something important. But I'm probably gonna mess around with Convocation because I have all the models.
Cool. Jeremy? Same old new stuff?
Actually, so there for a minute after LVO, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something completely different. So I played some stupid fucking robots that were horrible. And
I want to say one thing real quick.
yes,
Why?
they're horrible.
You should stick with them. I think they'll work out.
I think you're wrong. I'm done with them. I have buried them in my backyard.
I would not have been surprised if you literally went home and smashed them to pieces. You were so mad.
I was so mad. And like, what the thing is the first game I was like, man, those sure felt shitty. And then the second game I was like, man, those sure were shitty. Like, and the thing is, it's like they're cool and they're big, and like, what's the point of running 2? You need to run 3.
I cannot wait to play Sentinels and win a bunch of games with them. And
fucking try.
Like,
go ahead,
like it's
motherfucker.
gonna be Wolverine all over again. You're like, this guy is trash.
Whatever. So anyway, I was like, that's done. We had a tournament this last weekend, and I've never played Shadowland Daredevil. I played a bunch of Criminals, but never Shadowland. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do that. So I took out Kingpin. I ran all rapid fire model kind of thing. It was a pretty standard issue. I did pretty good, and I was like, man, you know what this was missing? Kingpin. So I just dropped Kingpin in, adjusted a little bit, and holy shit. That's such a strong list. I'm having a blast with it. I don't know that I'll be playing anything else for a while. Pretty
Like you're running
good.
at Kingpin instead of Daredevil?
No, both. I have Kingpin
which
and
leaders
Daredevil
are you
now.
finding? Which leadership is
Both.
making you excited?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Now I have a list that can massacre you, and I have a list that can beat you on scenario. So like, it's the first time I've played in a long time where I can actually do multiple things with a list and enjoy it. So it's actually a lot of fun, and folks that have already done it, okay, great, good for you. I've never tried this with these guys, so.
The issue with the dual list is it's not as potent as either list on its own, but it still works. And because you have more flexibility. So basically, if you are not... A lot of people that completely sell out one strategy are trying to maximize RNG, okay, well, my opponent didn't have an answer for Kingpin, so I'm going to just take maximum advantage of that. And then if they get into a close matchup, they're just going to skew that same strategy even harder to where them trying to play for the matchup doesn't help enough. And so doing the duel means you'll be better in the matchups where they have the hard counter, but you'll be worse in the matchups when they have the soft counter. So it's just a weird, I've got you, like, it's this weird rock, paper, scissors situation. So it's wherever you enjoy the most. There's definitely more thinking involved with the hybrid.
I think
so
that...
if you want a tactical game, that will probably be better.
I think the Kingpin world where they removed field dressing, I think it became a weird world. And you now have to kind of figure out how to do it. At least on a higher level. I mean, it's kind of dummy proof. I'll stand here. I'm worth 2. Ha ha ha. But, like trying to actually win a game that way, you're going to get murdered off points these days. So it doesn't last that long. And having the options and whatnot, I played both versions, and I like both versions a lot. And I think the reason is Rhino, honestly. Rhino does so much for both lists. Like
Rhino is a lot of glue.
Yeah. So
get it because he's got hooves.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to end on that. He's a lot of glue.
I think I actually think after playing Shadowlands Daredevil and doing the sellout, like maximum firepower kind of Shadowlands Daredevil, I think there was space to try to run Criminals. And like you said, Brandon, I don't think it would be as good as... I think what's funny is the conclusion you arrived to, Jeremy, I don't know exactly what your list is probably similar to what I arrived to, which was I don't need all these guns. but I don't know if Kingpin needs any of these guns. So there probably is a better Kingpin list, but putting Kingpin in with those guns doesn't necessarily mean that he can't be played. So it's more like a Shadowlands Daredevil list that can switch in Kingpin and change its tactics, rather than a great Kingpin list that can all of a sudden kill people, which I don't know if that exists actually. But
I think there's a lot of gas in the criminal hybrid. I just don't think either of them are world beaters. I just think that they're good. And so if I'm going to a tournament, I want the world beater list. So
they're not, I mean, there's only one Steve Avengers. Like that to me is insane.
But that's, I don't know that I would make that comparison, because the issue with the Kingpin is it's like, are you going to have space in your list for like the 3 long movers and all the 2-pointers and all that other stuff? So if you're sacrificing all of that, the Kingpin list loses a lot of teeth to bring in the criminal stuff that's good with Daredevil. And obviously Rhino is going to be in the list regardless. Bullseye is going to be in the list regardless. Kingpin's in there. And so like a lot of your core is already selected. So you're losing a lot of those really dangerous tools, which is why when we first started traveling, people thought Kingpin was just a joke, because they weren't playing the go wide fast Kingpin list, which is completely different than the potato list. And so I think that's why people don't respect him the same way, because they haven't ever played against we're playing 17 and my opponent has like fucking 7 long movers. I'm like, well, I've lost.
So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, for me, I did a podcast with Lexa from Morlocks, and I built a Avengers list that I'm going to start playing that's centered around Doctor Strange #1. And so I'm very excited to play that now.
Oh, he's your favorite.
I say, do you feel like you're going home?
Yeah.
A little bit. So there was a long time when we were talking about putting him in Cabal and running Magneto, Strange, and Cabal. It's gonna be flashbacks. It's gonna be great. We talked about it because there's a lot of interesting lines of play, because you can there's like 6 5-pointers in Cabal, 5 or more, that like all synergize with Doctor Strange. And so you basically just do the Bully Boys list with Red Skull as Grease, and you just activate Strange twice. And it's hilarious because you can Crimson Binding 2 different people. It's gonna be great.
I think that's called like the ceiling the list, right? You're just playing for getting to that high ceiling that Strange can hit. That's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we've been playing. Moving on. Hobby projects. We don't hobby. Fuck that. Moving on. Main topic today. This story time's from last week, right?
Yeah, we're not story timing anymore. This is meta. We want to talk about
this is number time.
Meta.
We're going to talk about the numbers, the figures. So we've got, what do we want to resolve first? We have a lot of like guesses about what we're going to do. So let's just go over.
I think we should wait for Aaron, because he made guesses, right? Can we?
That's true.
Can we discuss the guesses when he gets back?
Let's talk about the raw data.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Parker, what is your observation?
Okay, so the affiliation breakdown that Xavier Protocols, for those of you who don't know, did a really cool breakdown. If you go to the Longshanks stuff, not everything is represented. Like if you had a dual affiliation, but you never played that affiliation, it kind of skews the data. Also,
or if your dual affiliation was like you included
Dormammu,
Mystique in your list, and just for deception, and technically it's 2 lists.
Yeah. So the Xavier Protocols guys did a really good breakdown of the games and actually found out who was playing what. And while the top of the list is not incredibly surprising, it's very similar to what we thought. Things like Brotherhood, X-Men, Avengers, and S.H.I.E.L.D. I was blown away with how many affiliations were not represented, like 0. It kind of blew me away. I thought there were going to be lots with like 1 player. So A-Force, that was me. Spider-Foes and Weapon X had 1 player. So I expected kind of that, but I did not expect so many zeros.
So real quick, we knew X-Force was going to be 0.
Sure.
We expected Winter Guard was going to be 0.
I don't know. I thought there'd be somebody doing
We narrowly missed Sentinels.
Yeah, Sentinels actually got
Sentinels
close.
Almost made it.
Sorry, I'm part of the reason why they didn't make it. She-Hulk.
Yeah, you should apologize.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, She-Hulk just like fucking like banes each one of them individually, just backbreakers.
Don't bane me! Don't bane me!
Don't bane me! Don't bane me! Midnight Suns. I actually thought we might see a Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Inhumans, obviously not going to show up. They're trash. Absolutely the worst.
I actually think I thought they would be playing one because a lot of people love the first turn plays, and I thought maybe that would happen.
I could have easily seen an Inhumans player that would have been fine. It would not have been that expected. This isn't a guaranteed 0, but it's an unshocking 0. Defenders is obviously a 0. Asgard, I think, is still pretty low. I put them on par with Inhumans, and Dark Dimension's about the same. So I think there's 3 of those are like, yeah, that's like a coin flip, yes or no. But X-Force, Winter Guard, Sentinels, Inhumans, and Defenders are all like, yeah, that's going to be a 0 at serious competitive tournaments, in my opinion.
Interesting, because I guess
Jeremy,
I thought.
What do you think? Are Sentinels competitive? Sentinels, how do they make
Sentinels? No, maybe.
I love how angry he is at Sentinels. How about Inhumans then? Would you have guessed 0 if we had gun to your head?
Being that we were there and saw, I didn't see them. You mean would I have
No,
guessed
but,
before
like,
we went?
Yeah, on the episode before we left, if I had said we guessed the number of each affiliation, you had to write down a number and you had money on it. Is that number a 0?
I think it's a 0. I on
think
that.
So too.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Asgard,
I didn't think Asgard would be
probably
0.
I thought so. Asgard's what I was saying. Asgard's the one. I'd be like, probably 1.
Right.
I thought somebody was going to tech it. You know what I mean? Like come up with something interesting.
And it was only really because like there's just been more Asgard releases fairly recently. Asgard are beloved. I think Asgard have some play. They just have. I don't think a solo Asgard list would be smart. I think a dual affiliate Asgard list would be reasonable.
Speaking of Asgard, for just one moment, you said that some of the characters just got put on. Heimdall. There was one Heimdall. One.
I can tell you exactly why that was.
I thought he was supposed to be strong. I thought everybody agreed he was an
He is
excellent
strong.
tech piece, but he just didn't exist.
And Avengers this is the lowest representation of Avengers in a long time, which arguably is good.
11 is not low, but I guess a lot of them.
It's not low, but normally they're dominant, right? Like they're like double the next highest is usually how they fucking shake out.
But even with 11 Avengers, only one of those 11 Avengers took a Heimdall. That's pretty extraordinary to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, Avengers is also Sam and also Hulkbuster, technically.
Yeah, like I still think it just kind of blew me away that Heimdall didn't appear more than they did.
Did you check to see if you counted as dual affiliation?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you check to see if your roster counted as dual affiliation?
It
Because
did
you
not.
said you had Hulkbuster.
It did not.
And why?
Because I never played him, I guess. Because on Xavier Protocols, it doesn't show up. There's one A-Force.
Hulkbuster as a leader or Avengers?
They have one A-Force player who is me, and I am not on the Avengers one. They took me off because there was more Avengers players, and according to Longshanks, and there's only 11 here. Because I never played.
But didn't
Avengers.
you have like Avengers Assemble in your list?
Yeah, but I never played it.
I guess I want to see, how do you know that you aren't counted in the Avengers players?
Let me look at the Longshanks. I'm pretty sure there was.
Are you
more
just
than
guessing?
11. No, I'm 99%.
Well,
sure
so
there's
I
more
know
than
there's going to be some people that like that drop down because someone might have just put Sam in their roster and not had any other Avengers, and so that obviously fixes that. But I'm just saying, like, of all the people to jam Hulkbuster in a list, you actually had the tactics cards and the affiliated characters to make it work.
Okay.
Because you were intentionally playing a dual affiliated roster, as were other people like me. Technically, I had Mystique in my list, but I had no intention of playing her. Like that happens. Like a lot of people had Mystique, but weren't playing Brotherhood.
I see your point. Yes. Yeah. I see your point. So if you looked at my list and just my list, you would see that I was playing Helios Laser, I was playing Avengers Assemble, I was playing several Avengers. I could definitely be an Avengers, yeah.
So because when he describes here, is the way he does it is he looks at the dual affiliations and he says when the roster.
Okay, I see. So the point you're getting.
Yeah, it says here is like he's like if a roster has Wakanda models but no Wakanda Forever or A-Force without special delivery, for example, I don't buy that the player actually intended to play a dual affiliated roster. And so that's the example he gives. So in this case, I actually think that you should have counted. Now, because it was Hulkbuster and not a Captain America, maybe he just said, fuck you, you don't know what you're doing or something. I don't know what the case was, but I'm just saying I think you had a strong case to be a legitimate dual affiliated roster.
Sure.
So if you're one of the 10, then you didn't have Heimdall made sense. And so I'm just saying, like, there might be one or two other people also.
Right.
But yeah, I am also surprised Heimdall only was in one roster.
He's even
Jeremy,
he's even kind of a tech piece against all those X-Men because he allows you to pay to flip and reroll pay to flips, which they like. Yeah.
True.
I mean, I think that there was a ton of people there that have gone through the what makes Heimdall good, bad, whatever, and discovered that he isn't an answer to meta problems, most likely. And you have to put things in your list to deal with other people who are bringing meta shit. So, creativity was not scored highly. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't what was important. It was more important to bring the tools for the job. And Heimdall is kind of an extra seasoning. He's cool and can do awesome things, but again, he doesn't solve problems that need to be solved.
What's funny, you know who does solve problems? Apparently, Crimson Dynamo. He was everywhere.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
If you would have told me pick a model that's going to be a super important tech piece for a lot of the strongest lists, I would not have put Crimson Dynamo on the list of 5 models. I would not have. I was wrong.
That's definitely a meta thing because he's widely considered a very good model, and he does not get played in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Admittedly, though, I'm probably the person that should be playing him because that's kind of like my wheelhouse of stuff, but I don't like him. So, how about this, Jeremy? Have you looked at the numbers a lot? Like,
I have not.
The breakdown.
No.
How about this? I have a quiz for you.
Yep.
So we know that X-Men and Brotherhood were the top 2 affiliations, and they were tied.
Okay.
In the top 6 characters, there is 1 character not affiliated with Brotherhood. Can you guess which character? Or sorry, 2. I apologize. I forgot the most popular model. That's my bad. 2 characters not affiliated with Brotherhood. Can you guess who they are?
That are in...
I'll give you a hint. They're not affiliated with X-Men either.
Oh, really? And they're in both?
Yeah. They're
in the top
2
6.
models are not affiliated with X-Men or Brotherhood, but the other 4 on the top 6 are all Brotherhood.
Are we talking Rhino and Dynamo? Is that what you're talking about?
It is neither of those.
Okay.
Those are good guesses, though.
I don't know.
Hulk and
Okay.
Voodoo.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't... I honestly didn't think Voodoo so much, but I knew Hulk. I just wasn't putting it together, though you were asking me exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. So Voodoo had 20 appearances, and Black Cat had 16, which actually surprises me because I thought that Black Cat was more popular than Voodoo at this point.
I think that Rhino has taken up the flag for at least half the games that Black Cat was
good.
in.
Rhino also had 16. Tied with Black Cat.
That makes sense.
Let's see. What's the most surprising thing on here? According to this, you played 80% of all the Malekiths. No, I'm just kidding.
We knew that. That's not surprising.
This is actually a little surprising. How many Zemos do you think there were?
Ooh. I will say...
You can guess percentage or total.
65%.
Ooh, 14%.
What?
9.
What?
9 Zemos out of 64.
More Zemos than Black Panthers.
Shit.
More Zemos than Black Panthers.
God, this is weird.
That's a crazy
so
stat.
weird.
More Zemos than Captain America.
That's so weird.
Either Captain America.
Yeah.
Although there was as many Rhinos as both Captain Americas combined.
What's weird is there's only 4 Hydra, but I guess he was also in Cabal. So there's 4 Hydra, 4 Cabal, but it's still just 8.
Well, I was playing him unaffiliated, so
there you go.
He was in my brother.
There he is, Hydra, Cabal, and you.
Because he's my Mystique go wide fast mover, guys.
Mm-hmm.
How the turntables have turned.
Mm-hmm. How the turntables.
Yeah, the model down to the bottom that I did not expect was Heimdall. I thought he would be much higher. Everyone else makes sense down here.
Okay. Who was more popular, Jeremy? Bob or Sabretooth Apex Predator?
Bob.
Nope, it was Sabretooth.
God damn it.
Too many Brotherhood.
Good thing you're not betting on these. I'd be fucking cleaning you out.
Too many Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? Who was more popular? MODOK or Bullseye?
Bullseye.
It was Bullseye.
I was going to say.
By a lot.
Yeah.
I tried to trick you on that one.
No.
Fuck me. MODOK only had, what was it, 4?
One of them was mine.
One was mine.
Yeah, there you go.
we were 50% of the
50%.
MODOKs.
The 2 assholes
Oh,
that
man.
brought him.
Yeah, MODOK was legit.
Yeah, on stream they
Hey.
were like, he took MODOK. I love that. I'm like, why wouldn't you take
Yeah.
MODOK? Are you fucking kidding
Why
me?
would- It's fucking the best. Yeah, they were talking about it with me too. They're like, oh, another guy's MODOK. I'm like, MODOK is amazing.
Holy shit.
You remember when MODOK broke the game for a year? Yeah, fuck that.
So I'm looking down here for wasps in the 1 because I thought I was the only one. I am not the only one. Somebody else took the wasp.
Yeah, we're so
You
proud of
copied
you
them.
too.
Yep, finally. I'm net
2 Visions. Remember that? Remember when Vision was hot shit?
Yeah.
Oh
Man.
my god, only 2 Venoms? That
Yeah.
blows me away.
It shows you how, well, it's something I noticed about it anyway, which is how much the meta is localized. Like the climate is localized. I feel like I see, Venoms all the time. It's because I play you a lot, so you put Venom in all your fucking lists because you need to.
That is true.
And I see MODOK all the fucking time,
All
but
right.
I don't think that's
Jared.
what everybody else experiences.
Jeremy, I got 2 more for you. You ready?
Okay, here we go.
Which is there more of? Cassandra Nova or Jean Grey? What a perfect question.
Well, there's a shitload of X-Men, so I'm going to say Jean Grey.
It was Jean Grey
Okay.
by 1.
Oh my god! How many was there?
2.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Go.
Were there more original Peter Parkers or Honey Badgers?
It's got to be. You son of a.
That's like you're like I
That's
will.
gotta
I
be-
will put. I would like to place a $9 million wager.
That's
Please.
got to be Honey Badger, right?
Nope.
Are you serious? Oh my god.
In fact, Honey Badger was outscored by every character in the game named Peter.
Oh my god. Both
Oh,
amazing,
weird.
Ian.
What a weird, weird stat.
Apparently, Gabrielle is lose to Peters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or especially every character named Parker, because all 3 of those guys were definitely higher.
Okay.
All right. Last one. Ooh. Were there more Gambits or Crystals? Oh, wait, sorry. Or Ghost Riders?
Gambit.
Oh.
Brotherhood's in that motherfucker, yeah. Lots of there's probably tons of Gambits compared to the Ghost Riders.
There was 2. I was one of them. Let's see. Was I one of the only singular characters? That's a good question. There's only one Wolverine. One Proxima Midnight. Man, how the game has turned on its head.
Only one Mysterio?
Yeah. Well, there's only one Green Goblin.
But even then, he is a colonel
One
and a
Ghost
cabal.
Rider. One Ghost Rider's insane.
That's not
Of
insane.
64 players, one
They don't
in
believe in him.
64.
I don't. Yeah, because he just does damage. He doesn't do all the things that win. That's not the way. I don't think that's the way this kind of meta thinks. That's why Heimdall blows my mind. Heimdall seems like somebody who helps you win, but
Well, by that argument, he doesn't really help you win though, because like all he does is dice. Like you can win without dice.
he also places you.
Sure, but the X-Men think about it, the X-Men players don't want a 3-point unaffiliated. They want like Hulk. And at the point you've taken Hulk, now you need to spend points on not unaffiliateds.
I wasn't thinking about X-Men specifically, but yes. But Brotherhood like him. They could. They don't usually, but they could.
He'd be fine. I don't know that's what they want. They already have support usually.
I thought
The
they
cool thing about Brotherhood is they really don't need support. That's like kind of the thing,
yeah, they're just
right?
yeah, they're all packages.
More Wasp than Ant-Man is just like the cruelest twist because it's alphabetical, so it's Wasp is the last 2 and Ant-Man's the first one. It's like, what is wrong with people? Like, come on, one of those models is definitely better than the other.
She wasn't bad in what I would need her to do.
You are part of the problem, Parker.
I think
That's
I'm part of the
true.
solution. You say problem, I say solution.
It's your
I'm-
dice. Your dice brings these models into some sort of competitive level
I'm-
that they don't deserve.
I'm
Okay,
a, I'm
so
a
there
cure
were
for what ails
zero-
them.
There were 0 Sentinels played, but 1 Cassandra Nova.
She's a Cabal member.
That's a fun stat. All right, Crises. Jeremy, you said you have not looked at the stats.
I have not.
What do you think the most popular secure mission was? Based on my games, let me tell you, it was fucking Gamma. I played Gamma for like 4 out of 5 rounds.
Yeah, I want to say that, but honestly, I think it was probably a D. I can't remember the name of them. What is it?
Extremis and Spider Portals. I think are the 2 Ds.
There's another D, isn't there?
Is there? Let's check.
Extremis,
99%
Spider
sure.
Portals, and what's the one where you?
Cosmic Invasion.
Comics Mage. There you go.
Cosmic Invasion, Spider Portals, Extremis. are
I'll
the
say
3.
Extremis.
Okay. Parker, did you already look?
I already looked.
Okay. It is Infinity Formula, which is core set, so it's pretty close.
Oh, it's a B. That's a B, right?
Yeah, it's a B.
Yeah, X-Men. I was just thinking of X-Men.
41%. Yeah, 41%. That's a lot. What was the least popular secure?
Ooh, Senators.
Senators is an extract.
Oh, never mind. Meteors?
It was Meteors. Good.
Nice.
job.
Was it? Nice.
Yeah, nailed it.
Look at you.
It's just as a weird one.
The next 2 most popular after Infinity Formula were Demons and Gamma
Yeah, there you
with
go.
38 and 34%. So
I
obviously
played a
those
lot
are
of that
being
too. Yeah.
Those are being played in the same list, obviously. Then the next most popular was Syndicate or Scoundrels, which is crazy. Mayor Fisk was the second least common, though. That actually surprised me. I thought Mayor Fisk is a lot more people. I think should like Mayor Fisk. But anyway, moving on. Most popular extract, and let me just say, this surprised the shit out of me.
I haven't looked at it, but so I want to make a guess.
Don't look, Mr. Cheater. Man, the top 3 is just like a head scratcher.
Well, every list I'm gonna tell you the one. Every list I played against, everyone has fucking hammers. I don't know why, but they fucking do. I'm gonna call hammers.
It was hammers.
I'm telling you,
That's
everybody loves it except us.
56% had hammers. That's insane.
Mm.
All right, Parker. What's your best guess for the other 2 top 3?
I thought it was Montesi because I saw a lot of Montesis.
Okay.
And I didn't have another one. Montesi and
Jeremy, go ahead and throw out your guesses too.
Paranoia.
I think Montesi.
Maybe Paranoia.
Okay.
Okay, so which ones? I'm trying to think X-Men here.
Oh wait, what's the Cure? It might be Cure.
Deadly Legacy Virus.
Yeah, I think it might be Legacy Virus. I think it's like Legacy Virus.
I think it's Spiders. Montesi
All right,
and
so
Spiders.
we have Montesi and Spiders from Jeremy. Parker, what was yours?
Montesi and Legacy, I think.
It is none of those.
Son
Oh,
of a
gosh.
bitch.
Couldn't be
Scrolls?
Researcher, could it?
Centers. Research. Oh, it is Researcher, I bet.
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
No, I
Parker?
thought it could not be Researcher because I did not see it hardly at all. But maybe it is.
I did.
Parker, what's your guess?
I'm gonna. So I guess if everybody's gonna fight in the middle, Researcher and Scrolls. No, Researcher and I said Montesi. Researcher.
Said Montesi.
Researcher and Smoke in the
And that's time.
Yeah.
It is none of those.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What is it?
It was Scrolls and Paranoia.
Oh, I said Paranoia. I should have stuck with it.
You
Oh,
originally
that's
said
so
Paranoia,
weird.
yeah. So we had top 3 were Worthy, Scrolls, and Paranoia. That's just a chaos fest. That's what surprises me. All of those are heavy RNG missions, which blows me away why competitive players would be intentionally putting like high RNG extracts into their list. It's insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've had some. Maybe they just had data where they were beating people because it was the chance was there. Like they always had the opportunity to score a bunch. I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take. We're going to take a quick break because Aaron's going to jump in and join us. All right. Welcome to the podcast, Aaron.
Hello.
Yay!
We got a boo and a yay. All right. So
Woohoo!
that's apparently
And a
how we're
woohoo.
going to do.
Aaron's
get a
the
vote?
tops.
Do I get a vote? I want to vote.
Woohoo! All right. So we were just talking about the crises from the Invitational. I was surprised. I want to know your opinion. The top 3 extracts in order by the first one resoundingly, and the second one a little bit less so, but still pretty popular in comparison to the rest. Fear, so Worthy, Scrolls, and Paranoia were the top 3 extracts. And I find that surprising for the Invitational specifically because I think those are the 3 highest RNG extracts, except for maybe Spider Infected.
I think X-Men are very, very good on Paranoia. And with there being a predominance of X-Men there, that makes total sense to me. If you were an
Okay.
X-Men player, or if you are not an X-Men player playing Paranoia, I would love to know the reason why. I think if you're not playing X-Men or Brotherhood, you should not have Paranoia or Senators in your list.
Okay, that's fair. But what about Worthy? I've always been against Worthy because I think it's a really good way to lose a game to 2 die rolls.
I'm going to concur with you on that one.
Okay. I just find the fact that 56% of rosters had Worthy as their extract just blows me away.
It's still one of the few quote-unquote fair ones where you grab one, they grab one, right? So if you're looking at Paranoia, there's 4 out there. It's hard to run away with 2 Paranoia unless you're playing X-Men, which is why they do it so well. So you're going to end up leaving someone on the center line, and that someone gets Deception, Thanos just randomly killed by Logan or Rhino. It's a bad idea to move and stay on the center holding an extract. Anyway, go ahead.
Sure. So I see the logic behind I have grunts, so I'm going to take Worthy. And there's 3 grunt characters, 4 grunt characters in the game. So I understand those people running it, but like if we look at the affiliation breakdown, we know that's well more than the people that were running those. And if we assume that every grunt leader was playing them, that's still a lot more. I guess you could have grunt characters in your list and not be running grunt leaders, but that doesn't help because if 70% of people are playing a grunt character, then it's just a priority roll again, and now you're down 3-1.
I think the grunt play with hammers is a trap. So, yeah, I think the better play is to just take it and back up with Angela, ASM, a hop, whatever the case may be. And hammers is, if you can do that, guaranteed to be fair, unless the opponent is playing Fury grunts, in which case, again, I still think that's a trap, and you can beat them, even though they're going to go at 3-1 turn 1.
Yeah. Anyway. So final question I have for Jeremy, who's been guessing these, which he's actually doing a really good job. Parker, have you peeked yet?
Nope.
Okay. What was the least popular overall mission?
In any extract or
that was taken? Yeah. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 4.
Sword.
Every mission was represented.
I don't know, but I want to guess when you're done.
Go ahead and guess.
Meteors.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess meteors too.
Jeremy.
I said sword.
Sword. All right. So we know from previously that meteors was the least popular secure.
Yeah.
So they're basically guessing. Well, Aaron didn't know this.
50%.
Yeah, Aaron's
so
Aaron's
we
just a
know
badass.
we know
I'm
it
hedging
can't
my
be
bet.
sword. We know it can't be sword. So would you like to re-guess? Because sword was more popular than meteors.
I gotcha.
Right. Now it might be meteors, but it can't be sword because we don't know what the lowest extract was yet.
I understand. I'll guess. I still guess meteors then. I mean, I just want to double guess, but
so we have triple meteors. That's fine. You're all wrong. It was Alien Ship with 3 total selections.
Wow. I mean, it is a shitty one.
So I was one of them, and I played, I think, both people that were playing it. So I thought Alien Ship had a high turnout because in my 5 games, 2 of my opponents had Alien Ship, and I also had Alien Ship. So I'm just over here in the corner playing with like the little group of people who are like, Alien Ship's the best.
Is it a 20?
No, I think they lowered it to 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 17 now. The next lowest extract was Deadly Lacy Virus, then Spider Infected, then Cubes. And so that kind of blows me away too, because a lot of people are doing fast scoring, and the 2 fast scoring missions were fairly low. Alien Ship only had 3. Demons. Meteors had 5. That's a pretty small turnout.
Oh, what did sword have?
Sword
Every X-Men?
The 12 is 19. It was just below. It was about middle of the pack, a little below middle of the pack. Because the bottom 6 of 12 had 20% or less, and sword had 19%.
Gotcha.
Extracts were very heavy on the tops and bottoms of the chart. 56 for the highest, 5 for the lowest, and then 41 and 8 for secures. So the secures were more evenly spread out. Anyone want to guess what the far and away most popular tactics card was?
Brace for impact.
Anybody else?
Nah,
Anybody
brace.
with a good
Brace.
guess?
I mean,
Nobody with a good guess then.
It comes with every fucking new model.
It does come.
Yeah,
with
do
long
we
boxes.
have to say which art was on the card?
Which art?
Because it was probably
Rhino
brace 1, 2, and 3 as the top 3 cards.
Yeah.
I took all 3 in my
Uh,
list.
That would have been not the case. It was Brace. Anyone guess number 2? I found this surprising.
Yeah, I know it.
I
so
understand
won't
it,
guess.
but do what?
I know it, so I won't guess.
Mission
okay.
objective.
I was gonna say mission objective.
Mission objective was number 3. Fallback. was number
Fallback.
two.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I think I could have tried.
Now this next one is very obvious because we've only had what is it mission objective restricted?
No.
No.
No, yeah. So we've only had one restricted so far. So what's number 4?
Indomitable.
Patch ups before Indom in the meta is my thought.
Well, that's Aaron's thought.
Sacrifice.
It was Deception.
Yeah.
What a whore.
What a horror! All right, so that's out of the way. What was number 5?
Indomitable. Patch up.
Parker.
5.
What's
Sacrifice.
after
I'm gonna go for
Deception?
sacrifice again.
All right, it was Do You Know Who I Am?
God damn it. Okay, so we're just going all Brotherhood.
These fucking Brotherhood cards are
Fuckers.
killing us. So there's 2 Brotherhood Brotherhood character cards that are above most of the restricted cards.
Hard to Please is number 6.
Okay, next. Difficult to Please. Difficult to Please should not have any representation.
Mind if I
that
cut
is
in?
the dumbest card in the game. Yeah.
Mind if I cut in?
Uh,
Exactly.
All right.
Pardon me,
so
Sugar.
who wants to guess for number 6? I'll tell you this: it's not a Brotherhood card, although technically neither of the other 2 were either.
I'm going to go with...
You're already on the Indom
know what?
train. You got to keep
Yeah,
riding. that
you
horse.
might as well, because as soon as you don't guess Indom, it's gonna be
No.
Indom.
I'm guessing it's that Craven card so I can turn into Spider-Man. At this
Take
point.
off my face.
Fearful Symmetry.
I'm guessing Fearful
Parker.
Symmetry.
Which tactics card?
Number 6.
Good God, there's so many.
Indomitable.
Sacrifice.
You're on.
I'm gonna keep saying
Sons of
sacrifice
bitches.
until
All
it
right,
becomes
there we
true.
go.
Exceptional
All right.
healing.
It was exceptional healing.
I hate
Yes.
Well, he looked, so it doesn't
This is
count.
No, I only knew the first 2.
Oh, okay. Next up, number 7. We're only gonna do the top 10. Number 7. So just shout them out when you're ready.
Sacrifice.
Patch up. Come on. Give me the patch up love.
Jeremy.
you. Field dressing.
It was
Drop
Patch
off. Oh.
So we know for a fact Aaron's just looking at the list at this point.
Totally not.
Number 9.
Still sacrifice.
Fearful
be-
Symmetry.
Fearful Symmetry again. All right, so Jeremy's done playing.
I'm done. I hate this game.
We have Pyrotechnics.
Really?
Mm-hmm. All right,
There might be some broken models in this game, guys.
last chance here. Well, remember, like Brotherhood was tied for the most popular affiliation, and
Indomitable.
X-Men don't have a lot of tactics cards.
It's
If you think about it, they really only have the one. So moving on, number 10,
Okay.
Jeremy, your last chance.
Indomitable.
Okay, Parker,
What's the name of the X-Men card that lets you
first class.
It's first class. I'm gonna guess first class.
it's right.
Aaron.
It's got to be robbery.
Oh, okay, it's Sacrifice.
You're fucking with me.
God.
No, it's Sacrifice.
God damn it! Are you kidding me?
All right, that's 100 episodes, Parker. You were gonna bet it if I had asked.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. All right, next up we had Recal, followed by This Is a Robbery, followed by Eye on the Prize, followed by First Class.
Oh my god.
So there are 2 restricted
then-
cards in the first 15.
Yeah, it was not a lot. We had Brace, number 1 overall, and then Patch Up was the
that's right.
6th,
Patch up and sacrifice.
6th or 7th. Yeah, and then we had Sacrifice, and then Indom is not too far down the list, below Avengers Assemble, Escort to Safety, and First Class.
That is actually a really nice list. Like,
No, it's not overly oppressive. Obviously, once Mystique gets banned, it'll be better. And then moving on.
they'll just make
So anyway, yeah, this is pretty cool.
another mistake.
How about this? I want you guys to guess each one card that had exactly 1 in the tournament.
Deal
See
with
if
the
we can
devil?
Get that.
Power of the Cosmos.
You son of a bitch. Wait, hold on a second. You are wrong.
Who?
You mean
Which one of us
the,
is wrong?
the guy, the one guy took Ghost
Well,
Rider?
we talked
and didn't
earlier.
take
There
it?
was one Ghost Rider. He didn't take Deal.
Oh my god.
Jeremy's out. Jeremy is lost. Parker,
Fuck.
you're up.
I'm gonna guess Stalwart Determination. Is it in there?
You whore! Don't even do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Son of a bitch.
And I'm also.
So you're gonna have to choose a card you know that you weren't the only one playing.
Oh, god damn it.
However, your favorite card in the game is in here, if you can remember what it is. Aaron, what's your guess?
What's that
Power
mean?
of the Cosmos.
You looked earlier.
I did not.
Aaron's just looking at the list. That's why he's getting them all right.
He is not this good. Aaron can't be this. No one is this good.
He intentionally threw the one Aaron guess out earlier. He's trying to show us, Aaron, you could just share screens on Discord. You don't need to move your camera.
He's ho.
This is the perfect old man situation. I'll just pick up the camera and show them what I'm looking at. It's just all wobbly camera at the ceiling. It's like, see? It's like, no, we literally can't see anything. It's just shaky
Oh,
cam.
Lord.
I know.
It's at pressing the one button on the fucking screen that just shares it with everybody.
Blood despair.
You already guessed you were wrong.
Come on. Fearful Symmetry.
It is blood. Blood despair is a one though. Parker, go.
Oh, I think I can do it.
Yeah, you're looking at the screen. I can tell.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at all the lists of tactics cards in the game.
Yeah, that's the list you're looking at.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
are you sure you want to remember?
That was 0, I believe.
Nope, that's a 0.
What? There's a
The
guy who
person
played
who-
Weapon X.
The person who played
There
Weapon
is
X.
a guy.
Hold on. He played Weapon X, leaderless and without cards, just to get best in affiliation. I just know because they said that at the tourney.
Cool. Good for him.
What?
Well,
why
he
am I
actually
trying to play
won both of his Weapon X games, leaderless without cards. So,
Yeah.
Well, you did have to win to get best in affiliation, so that's fair.
not true.
Oh, you said the most wins for your affiliation. But nobody else played Weapon X.
Yes.
That's a dangerous game, though. Parker, I was going with Scientific Method.
You're right.
Yeah. You're like, nah, actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That was my favorite card. And he didn't even name it.
I 100% was sure Hydra was played so many times. I thought it would be, but I forgot that he wasn't. Zola was not.
Yeah, Zola was played once.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That was fun. So let's move on to recapping our predictions from the week before LVO. We'll run through some of them here. So first off, LVO predictions. Most popular affiliation. Jeremy picked Avengers. That was a loss.
Weren't they
I
tied?
guess Avengers?
Yeah.
No. His Brotherhood and Avengers are tied for most popular.
I thought it was X-Men. I thought it was like 13, 13,
Oh, sorry,
12.
Brotherhood and X-Men, yeah.
Yeah, Brotherhood and X-Men are tied.
Were they at 13 and Avengers were 12?
Avengers were 11.
Okay.
I chose Avengers. I was wrong. Parker picked X-Men. He was also wrong. And Aaron picked
What?
Brotherhood and then X-Men second. He
Wait,
was
what?
also wrong.
How was I also wrong? What?
They tied. Nobody picked tie.
It's true. That's not going to get you anything. Actually, that's a push.
This is bullshit.
That'd be a push.
Yeah,
This
you
is-
don't lose anything.
That's so
You don't lose anything.
bullshit.
They'll just cancel
Parker-
your bet.
It's like when your wife asks you if the other girl's hotter than she is. You can't say it's a push and a tie. It's a fail.
I've never once
See?
said
Ties-
said that.
It's
See?
just a
She's
fail.
just as hot as you are, sweetie, and you still get slapped.
No.
Like, what did I do?
No, my
She's
my
ugly.
My wife is too hot. But I do
She's
not
ugly.
understand.
You are gorgeous.
I don't understand how that is not a win. But cool.
That's why
All
you
right,
have
this,
1,400.
this is going to be
episodes.
embarrassing. All right, Parker, how many episodes do you want to bet on your winning faction plus leader bet?
None, because I know I lost. I remember
Oh,
what I said.
All right. Jeremy, you chose Steve Rogers Avengers. That was wrong.
Push.
Aaron, you chose Steve Rogers Avengers.
Push.
That was wrong. Parker, you chose Steve Rogers Avengers. That was wrong.
Push.
And
We're
just
still
move
in
on
it
now,
for the
not talk about what I did. I also picked Steve
I was
Rogers
going to say,
Avengers.
we're 0 for 4 on this one.
Say it. All right. Surprise popular affiliations. Jeremy, Midnight Suns were played 0 times.
God damn it.
That's a loss. Aaron, you chose Spider Foes. Spider Foes were played once. That was wrong.
Nice job.
Parker chose Weapon X. Weapon X was played 1 time.
Yeah.
That was wrong.
Oh.
Brandon chose Criminals. Criminals were played 5 times. Considering they are the 5th most played affiliation, I feel like that was a good bet, but I thought they'd be above 10, so that was wrong.
Now, you got to give the rest of us credit for really picking dark horses, though.
No, you guys did. I get 0 credit for this. I chose Criminals, and I think they had a low turnout. So that I definitely lost this. We're just fucking killing it here, guys. I'm so glad we know the meta so well.
Yeah.
All right. Top 8 bets. I actually don't have this information. Can somebody pull up top 8 on the bracket? Aaron, do you have it?
I only have mine.
Your wait, what? Your guess or the top 8?
Both.
You have top 8 pulled up?
I wrote them down in my Excel spreadsheet and compared them to what I had guessed earlier.
Okay, well that's all we need. Okay.
I don't have yours.
I don't have the
I have
results.
the actual
All I need is the results.
I have the top
Oh.
8. I got it right here.
Okay.
I have our top 8s, yeah.
I got it.
That's what I was asking. I was asking you to give me your top 8. Okay, moving on.
I've got the top 8 here.
Okay. What was first?
Shield.
All right. Next.
Avengers / Brotherhood. I think it was actually Avengers Brotherhood. Like he had a legit switch.
Next.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Next.
Hydra Avengers.
Next.
Avengers.
Next.
Brotherhood.
Next.
Criminals.
Next.
X-Men.
Next.
That's 8.
I was kidding. All right. Parker, you had some bets here.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
So first off, you had bet that Avengers would have 4 in the top 8.
Mhm.
They had 3. Guardians for 1, you hit that one. Cabal for 1, which was a no, and
Mhm.
X-Men for 2, which was a no, but you got one of the 2.
Mhm.
So you basically hit 5 of your top 8. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Top 4 you had as Avengers. Did you guess that all 4 would be Avengers? I think you did, because you had 4 Avengers in your top 8.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think I
Yeah.
said it like that.
Yeah. And that was a 4-1 bet, so you're going to lose 100 instead of gaining 400.
Mhm.
And then you bet there would be no spider foes in the top 8,
Mhm.
which you actually win.
Yay!
So you're going to net lose 50.
Cool.
Good job.
All right. So you're going to go to 1,523 probationary episodes.
Finally
Nice.
becoming a savvy consumer.
I cannot imagine what John is doing listening to this. What did you bet? Just
John-
tearing his hair out.
I don't think John
Like,
tears his
what are
hair
you
out for
doing?
my fake money, but I do think he probably shakes his head very slowly with sadness.
No, like the disappointed,
Yeah.
like disappointed dad. You're like
Sad.
this fucking kid. Like,
Yeah.
no, I definitely think he's like the, like just like can't imagine being in that situation, making that mistake. It's like the guy watching Price is Right, just screaming $3.99 at the screen. Like, you just calm down. It's okay.
We're constantly watching him run upstairs in horror movies.
Exactly. All right. Our personal records. We're gonna see who got the closest.
Ooh.
Jeremy, what was your final record?
Of the entire thing, all the games?
No, just the Invitational.
The Invitational. 2-3. 'Cause I
Okay.
dropped the last
And
one.
what was your record in the Last Chance?
4-1.
4-1. So you went 4-1, which in the thing that we were actually predicting on, because we didn't know you were going to be in. So you were actually off by 1 game, which is good. But it was also only a 5-round tournament. We thought it was going to be 6.
Mm-hmm. I said
So, that
X1.
was- Yeah,
thought it
X1 is good. There's no way to know. It's impossible to check. That information is lost forever. There's no way we could just go back and check. Aaron, what was your final record?
4-2.
Sandbagger. All right. I predicted 3-3. I guess I didn't say it. Aaron predicted 4-2 if you weren't here. So he got his record exactly right.
Oh no, I went 6-0. I
no,
wanted
you're-
wanted to go 4-2, but you shitheads were like, "No, you're a jackass." So you made me go 6-0. I'll take the loss on that one. I'll own up to it.
I mean, you also let
I
us
remember
down,
when you were
so-
like, "I'm gonna go 3-3 is my best I can do." It's like I want to say that's what happened.
I was
right.
vacillating 3-3 and 4-2. Anyway, go ahead.
I predicted myself 3-3. I went 2-3 and dropped to go watch the Chiefs game. So I'm gonna count that as a win, but I was 1 game off. I was pretty close.
Mhm.
Parker, we you predicted a 5-1 with an Asterisk submarine.
Yeah, I really wanted to win. Really wanted to lose first round. It didn't happen.
That's how I go into last chance qualifiers. Like,
Yeah.
if I could just lose the first round,
Yeah.
I have a real shot at this.
Yeah,
Trash man, eating trash, throwing garbage all around.
trash man.
Hold on, wait. We cannot miss this. I have to write this down. All right. If I could just lose first round, I would really have a shot at this. That's going on a t-shirt.
That's quote unquote submarine.
Yeah, that needs.
All right.
Yeah, that needs to go on the T-shirt for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Parker, you would have won this bet, I would argue, because you went 5-0 instead of 5-1. However, you specifically put the
Yeah.
qualifier of submarine.
Yeah.
You went 5-0 and fucking ruined yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be a loss. How did you do with the invitational though? Right.
4-2. So I was off
4
by
and 2.
1 there.
So we'll do X1 on here.
Yeah.
All right. Aaron predicted that Perrin would go 2-4.
Oof.
Aaron, how did Perrin do?
He went 2-4.
Son of a bitch. Did he finish below me
Yes.
in final standings? Did he?
I don't know.
Can we check that real quick? Because I have a prediction of Perrin won't have the worst record.
Shit, I have to find you on this somewhere.
You were 38, and Perrin is
yeah.
36.
Yes!
You have the
Yeah.
worst record.
I dropped and it submarined him.
There you go.
Counting it. That's 2 wins for me. That's the most wins. All right, so I think we did pretty well on our predictions. Yeah, I mean, Aaron nailed it, his and Perrin's record. Jeremy almost hit his spot on. We just got the round count wrong. Parker was just doesn't know how submarines work and realizes that they actually fly in the sky.
Yeah.
And then,
Submarines are just boats that tower
yeah.
above other boats, right?
yeah, they're just really tall boats. That's what submarine means.
Greatest submarine commander ever. Surface.
I mean, so
Stay surfaced.
our furthest off prediction was Parker saying he'd go 5-1 and submarine, and he went 5-0 instead. That was our farthest off prediction. That's a good job. It's a good job all around.
Yeah, not mad about that prediction.
All right, circling back to other people's top 8 guesses. Avengers ×3 for Aaron. That's spot on. X-Men ×3, we only had 1. Cabal, no, and MNS, I forget what MNS is.
Jeremy, Midnight Suns. But that was Jeremy's
Yeah.
guess. That was
Oh, it's
guess, not
Jeremy's. Sorry,
mine.
these are Jeremy's guesses. It's in alphabetical order in other places, but not here. Apologies. So that was Jeremy's guesses. So spot on the Avengers. Good job. Aaron had 1 criminal for yes. Avengers for 2, off by 1. An erroneous Cabal, like a lot of people had. 2 X-Men, there was only 1, and a Guardians of the Galaxy and a Spider-Foe that was not there.
I was 5 out of
good
8.
job.
We'll take it.
Yeah. No, these are pretty good. All right, so I'm just going to go through. Parker had 3, 4,
I had 5 and 8.
5. Yeah, you had 5. Jeremy had 3, 4, 4 out of 8. Aaron had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8. How bad was I? 3 Avengers, 1 X-Men, 1 Guardian, 1 Criminal. So I had 3 Avengers, 2 X-Men, 1 Guardian, Brotherhood, and Criminals. But I also had a side bet of 2 Thanos in the top 8. So I had the 3, the 1, Guardians, and Criminals. So I actually had 6.
Good job. You are amazing.
Nice. I assume there was no Thanos, though, right? Can we check that,
I
Yeah.
Parker,
can.
since you've got Longshanks pulled up? Just check their list real quick.
Good God.
There was
You want me to check?
absolutely.
Okay. This is going to take a while.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, because I got to
figured
go
it's
through each. I got to go to each person's list and then find it.
We're just checking yes, no on Thanos.
Right.
Um,
It's not instantaneous.
It's pretty easy. I think it's a no. In fact, I guarantee it is. Yep.
0 Thanos.
No Thanos.
Okay.
That
Cool.
kind of surprises me.
I was a little surprised too, but Thanos was kind of underrepresented here, just like Avengers was. I think people had the idea of let's just hammer the mutants and deal with it later.
Yeah.
There's only 7 Thanos total.
Uh,
That's not far off of what I would have guessed.
highest Thanos was 10th.
Cool. I think we did pretty well overall. I mean, we had our records almost nailed. Everybody was within 1 game.
Mhm.
And then we averaged 5 of the top 8 guessed correctly. That's pretty good. Considering we're kind of an isolated meta, except for Aaron. Like, Aaron pays a lot more attention. Aaron and Jeremy specifically pay more attention to the outside metas than I do. I think Jeremy just listened to some podcasts, and Aaron actually kind of pays attention due to TTS. But me and Parker kind of head in the sand most of the time when it comes to outside metas.
Yep.
Cool.
That's
I
why.
had
That's why I
called-
picked.
About a year ago when we were talking about TTS and Shield came up, I had called fucking Shield as being crazy good, and nobody had found it yet. I think you're gonna see so much fucking Shield now. Like, now that this guy won it, and like it's a thing. I think that's gonna be something to worry about.
I think Shield has been pretty highly held in regards for a while. They just aren't popular.
I think
I think everyone that plays against Shield says they're good. They just people don't like to play them.
You got real choppy.
Oh, apologies, my internet is not doing the best at the moment.
But yeah, I'm not sure Shield's going to get super popular because they're a very high ceiling faction, but also a low floor faction. So a lot of people will pick them up and not achieve success in your first 10 games and put them back on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So I think they will be popular. I think running into a good Shield player at a big event can ruin your day. You should be scared of them.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
and because of that, you might need a plan with how you're going to deal with Shield, even though your chances of running into it maybe aren't that high.
Yeah.
Seems
I
to
had
me
that.
that they're.
I had that
they're
happen to me
very-
fourth round.
Yeah.
Somebody
It
who
seems to
played
me that they're
Shield.
very complicated in what they're trying to do, and if you don't understand what they're trying to do to you, you're probably going to lose.
I actually watched Vince's little YouTube that he put together that says like I won LVO. I like Vince, like his personality anyway. I don't know the man actually,
Yeah.
but he was a hoot to listen to.
I've met him 3 times. He's always been a good guy. I think he's very funny.
Yeah, he said neither of the Hydra players he played into played Sleeper Agent Hulk into him, but Sleeper Agent Hulk just wrecks Shield completely.
Because you can't eye in the sky, basically.
You can't do shit.
Really?
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
of Shield is about like tricks. It's a tricksy trapsy faction.
Right.
Like he
It's a mother-
killed
it's a mother
She-Hulk
May I.
by
Yeah.
sacrificing into Bucky, who eye in the sky out into fast draw range. Right? So putting together those traps are what Vince has excelled at over the past 150 games.
Mhm.
Right? Made up number, but probably not wrong. Right? So he knows how to trap people into what he's wanting to do. And people don't get the reps into it nearly enough. So he understands the ins and outs, and his opponents don't.
Is the worst matchup for Shield then like Hulk Brotherhood? Oh no, because you can't do Sleeper Agent. I guess just Mystique then. Mystique and Sleeper Agent.
It might just be X-Men due to cover.
Oh, because they have a lot of low
They-
damage attacks.
Yeah.
And long range. They don't like to be up close that much.
So I don't know that there is a bad matchup, but I think some of the worst ones are probably the Sleeper Agent Hulk and X-Men in general. Or
I wonder if
Magneto might give them
I
some
wonder
fits
if
too.
Web Warriors would be an issue then, because they don't really need to attack them. So like the eye in the sky is kind of irrelevant, and they have a lot more manipulation and good defense.
They do have a lot of bodies, though. Generally speaking, it's nothing but 3-pointers, 2-pointers, and like 1 4-pointer. So you have to control all the bodies. And if Web Warriors has enough power to do that, I guess that's possible.
That also means the Web Warriors are probably dead. So
Just get overwhelmed by bullets.
Or they can just punch the little people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my internet went out for a second. Luckily, it came back quickly.
heck yeah.
Cool. Is there any other points on the data we want to bring up?
Just out of curiosity, I never actually found out why Brotherhood was such a prevalent thing. Was it just the Pyro Blob release, and then people like kind of jumped onto them because they were a new
I
hotness
think it's
thing?
the Crisis change. They like the new Crises much more than the old Crises.
That makes
And
sense.
it's a little bit of everything.
It buffed Mystique because of her leadership and the people she likes to run it with.
Hmm.
For instance, Mystique Jugs, Mystique Hulk, both have centerline X-Strap grabbed plays.
Hmm.
So they can go grab the center line and jump back. The same thing that those models do with Steve. Except Mags fixes Mystique's weakness on the maps where you don't want to run her. So a quote-unquote 100% Brotherhood roster, where you're double affiliating inside your roster with two different leaders,
Mhm.
fixes each other's weaknesses really well.
Yeah. That's what I was doing. I was just doing it from the other side. So I was starting with Mags and then dropping in the Mystique as a fixer instead of starting with Mystique and dropping in Mags as the fixer.
Hmm.
Yep. Potato, potato.
And so the big difference is missions, really.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I can see why.
Cool. I think, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Next week we'll have no LVO talk probably, but we'll have some new topics we've been waiting to do. So this has been Brandon.
And Parker.
Jeremy.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to The Numbers, The Figures.
So what are we gonna call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just gonna put down infamous.
And we are back.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hello.
We
Back.
did it.
We're back again. All right. So no Aaron today, unless he randomly decides he hates the theater. And
We know how much he
Calls
does
us.
not.
Very soon.
Wouldn't that be awesome if you just showed up at the podcast panting like, I made it from
What?
the theater.
Well, he managed to hop online during intermission.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, why is he on his phone?
Because he's dedicated to this cast. That's
Piercing the veil a little bit, I post a fair amount of things in our private podcast Discord channel, and I don't think ever in the history of ever has it had an immediate response, unless we were like in the channel. It was like, hey, let me post this link for you, and then someone clicks it immediately. But I posted, it was like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. And then immediately 2 people responded. I'm like, this is very weird.
Yeah.
This is like the bulletin board, basically. This is not a chat room.
You realize that you're both looking at the moon at the same time.
Yeah.
Ooh, gross.
Exactly.
Get off me.
Yeah. Felt very gross.
Um,
All right.
I have to get this off my chest, and I'm very I'm a Marvel fanboy. Let's start there. Like, you can almost sell me anything Marvel, and I'm like, you know
I
what?
hear it.
That's
I hear it
great.
As someone who literally sells you Marvel stuff, I
Yeah.
can agree with this.
I was
I
gonna say,
agree.
I
All
hear a
right.
big butt coming.
So finally, Black Cat 2 or whatever the boogaloo you want to fucking call it, Panther something, Shuri's Guide to Romping About Doing Nothing. Black Panther 2 is finally on Disney.
Wakanda Forever.
Mhm.
Wakanda Forever. And you know what that means? It means you're watching it and it takes fucking
Forever.
forever.
Oh no!
Have you guys
Um,
watched it? I won't spoil
I
it.
will say, I would like to say multiple things about this movie. So this is a minor spoiler. This movie's on Disney Plus already.
I have not watched
it's-
it, but I don't care. Go ahead.
It's been on Disney Plus for over a week,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that means it's been out for months. I
Mhm.
don't feel
Yeah.
bad at all saying this. I was not happy with basically any of the castings, the new castings. The old castings were still fine. I thought they did a good job the first time around, but all the new castings I didn't like. The plot was bad,
Oh, so bad.
and it was not interesting. It was okay, like the core concept was fine.
I guess.
And obviously, I mean, they were handed kind of a shit sandwich, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not really blaming the writing, but the end of the movie was logically inconceivable and not like with like how physics happen.
Yeah.
The logic and thought process in the final moments of the movie were absolutely ignorant. Like I don't know what else to say. It was so fucking stupid.
The entire time.
I'm just gonna give spoilers. I don't care. Parker, do you care? Are you
Oh,
gonna watch it?
I am always livid when it comes to the bad endings of movies, so I am excited to know how it ends.
There's nothing
That way I'll
redeemable
never
about it.
watch. That's
don't
way
worry
that's
about
way
it.
I'll just never watch it. Yeah.
All right, so let's just go Civil War equivalency. At one point in the movie, there's a character that decides the other character needs to die, and they fight to the death.
Mhm.
At which point, you get to the end of the fight, and one person's obviously supposed to die here, and they just pull a Goku and go like, no, if you say you're sorry, it's okay.
Oh
Like,
no!
What? And then they just let the person go with like world-ending threat. Like, it's like, okay, if Ultron says he's sorry, we'll let him go. Like, are you fucking serious? Like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about?
man.
The fucking hoops you had to jump through to get to the moment. It's like Thanos, right? It's like we like Tony Stark had the gauntlets like Thanos, say you're sorry. And it's like, what is happening? Like, and then they just let him go. It's like, are you insane?
That's
It was so
terrible.
dumb.
And see,
I was
I think
cringing in my
and this
seat.
is why I say Love and Thunder is a totally underrated movie because of its ending. Like Jane Foster's going to die. Jane Foster's going to die. Jane Foster's going to die. Jane Foster
And the whole
dies.
time we're like, all right, well, they're going to use the Eternity Wish to save Jane
Yeah.
Foster, obviously.
Right.
And everyone in the building is like, yeah, obviously.
Right. And then Jane Foster dies. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And it
Like
was,
you said, it was
so
I did like that.
earned.
I did.
Yeah.
It was important. It was important for her to die. It was important. And so good. But this, I hate that. I hate that so much. Oh,
So
man.
I put it. So like, let's back up a second. You kind of hijacked my rant.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine.
I did.
You do
I'm
that.
sorry.
I know how you do. That's okay.
I do
Um,
how I do.
You do how you do. So anyway, my kids were watching it, right? I turned it on. I knew my kids went and they went and watched this without me, which pissed me off in the first place because their mother took them. That's not supposed to happen. Marvel movies are mine. So I waited a long time for it to come out. We were starting to watch it, and my boys were like, "It's really long," and I was like, "That's not the best way to start this."
That's not a good review.
And then-
for children, that's a very bad
Yeah,
review.
and then my girlfriend sitting there, Heather, she's like, "Okay, well, we'll watch it." So she's sitting there, and I kid you not, 10 minutes in, and she's not one to do this because she knows I get offended. She pulls her phone out and starts TikToking, right? Just looking at TikTok.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I start watching TikTok with her while watching the movie. So then I'm like, I'd rather be watching TikTok than this movie. The boys both fell asleep immediately, and I just dragged my ass through this. And the whole time, I'm like, does this dude really have wings on his feet that look that stupid? And also, is this directed by Zack Snyder? Like, it's so fucking weird. The movie doesn't feel like it fits at all. It completely does disservice to the first Black
Yeah.
Panther. Like, the first one was so fucking good. This one, garbage.
I think the first Black Panther was heavily overrated, which is fine.
That's
I don't have
fine.
to like
It was-
every movie.
But still, if
But
this...
so it was just weird they decided to skip ahead the way they did
Yeah.
and not just skip ahead further. Like, why is like the whole movie seems to be about the resolution of his death,
yeah.
but also it's not the resolution of it. It's just like they didn't know what to do and tried to do two things.
Yeah, it was a mess. It really reminded me a lot of a DC movie, where it's just like, in the end,
It
you're like,
doesn't know
there's...
what it's doing.
Yeah, there's some characters, you don't really care who lives and dies, and one of them's not bad enough to care about, and the other's not good enough to care about, and you just don't really give a shit. Like,
It's definitely like the writers got to the end to go, and then go, it ends. And then like they forgot to finish it and nobody cared.
yeah.
And then they just kind of like, it just ends.
And then they're like, you know what'll save it? We've got some amazing Chadwick Boseman, like, just kind of like sentimental things we'll plop in here. And that was about the most emotional part of the whole entire movie. I was just
Yeah,
kind of like,
the like homage send-off thing was good, but
Yeah.
that was probably the best part of the whole movie.
But you knew that
It's
was
like-
coming.
It's like the end of Fast 5 when they do the or Fast 6 when they do like the goodbye Paul Walker
Yeah.
scene. That was like the best part of the movie.
Oh my God, Marvel! I
Not of
swear
that
to God.
movie, but of,
I'm telling you, they
Wakanda
might have lost me if Quantum isn't good. I'm telling you.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the thing though. I wasn't waiting for Wakanda Forever because I knew it wasn't going to be good. because I didn't like the first one that much. It was fine, but it's not like a rewatch movie. For me, it was like Eternals. So I was like, this is fine, but it's not.
See,
good.
I don't feel that way at all. I've watched Black Panther a lot. Like I like Claw, I like Killmonger, I like all of that. I thought that was really cool.
I don't like one-shot villains. I really don't.
Okay.
And so any movie like that, like even the original Spider-Man, when they like kill Green Goblin at the end of the movie, I was like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know how much plot is centered around Green Goblin in the comics?
Yeah.
And then you kill him after 85 minutes of screen time?
Sure.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like
Don't
come
worry.
on. Do you not know how comics work?
Don't worry, they'll bring
And
back his son on a skateboard in the third one. It'll be great.
Right. So that's when I knew that the comic book movies were not the answer, right? And because they were never going to do it justice. And the MCU has reaffirmed my faith in that. Because they at least attempt to stay fairly true to the vague concepts of the original plot. Unlike DC movies where they just throw shit at the wall and hope that things work out. But yeah, so when Killmonger kind of dies at the end of the first movie, it really took a lot out of it for me. Like, and that was like the only good thing about the plot was like the interesting like concepts of differences of opinion between T'Challa and Killmonger, and then they kill him, and I was like, okay, well, I guess that's over. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, you know what? He was right. I'm like, you guys killed each other. You were family. You were like, and it's like, he was probably right. Like, god damn it! Like, come on.
And there might be something with the whole Marvel thing where, maybe the biggest mistake is the end of Tony Stark holding it together, because his appearances and him and like keeping a character kind of flowing throughout. I mean, just not having one and not having anything to cheer for. Like, I didn't cheer for anything in that movie. I didn't care. It's just weird. It just felt
I don't
weird.
think it was Tony, but like they did used to have like the face of the franchise, if you will, in movies. And so some of the time it was Tony, some of the time it was Nick. And now both of those pillars are gone, and now it's like Wong.
Well, Nick will be back in Secret Invasion.
Sure. And that's very possible, but he hasn't been present since Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really Wong right now is that guy. He's the guy they plug in to cross boundaries. And I like Wong. He does a good job, but like it's not the same, right? Because we don't have the connection to Wong that we had from, well, this is Nick Fury. He's got his fingers and everything. Wong sits in a like monastery and does his job. And we're like, cool, good for you, Wong. But like we don't have the same, like there's not the same structure to it.
Yeah, and without Chadwick Boseman and that whole character, like they definitely struggled. I mean, there was just so much of a struggle in that.
There was definitely a void, which obviously is going to be there. And Okoye, I thought Okoye's character did a good job of trying to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But the Queen, I was not a fan of. I understand that she's supposed to be conflicted, but it was just like it just felt like filler.
Not having seen the movie, we know for a fact that making characters that we really care about come back in some form or variance or something like that can totally happen, right? It sucks, to lose a leading man, but we know it can happen. So it's definitely the fault of the writer. It's the fault of the movie. It's the fault of the movie making. Yeah, I will watch the movie to find
personally.
Who plays
I mean, I
but
know.
I think it's the fault. It's the fault of the writer, not the fate of an actor to make you not care.
The fact that he died isn't why the movie's bad, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's more complicated when you're trying to write it into a web of movies as opposed to like a single plot line. And we're just like, all right, we'll just change the plot. Well, changing is repercussions throughout the universe, so like you can't just do that. Mm-hmm. I personally would have been fine with a recast if that's all they cared about.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, Chadwick did an amazing job, and he was a big deal, and they didn't want to just like write him out of the movie. But like, I mean, if you can't rewrite the plot of a 50 movie arc for one person. I mean, they've recast people before.
Well, there's also another thing, like the behind the scenes here. I don't know anything about it, but there could be, like with the last Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness was plagued by a bunch of weird shit that happened because of COVID and like production times and when they could and could not make it, and it ended up completely changing the movie, and I think they were able to salvage something out of it, but we have no idea what they had in the pipe for this, and then it totally got turned upside down by production X, COVID this, maybe Bozeman Y. Like there's so many different things that could have changed the entire trajectory of this movie and flipped it over, and it could never be righted. That kind of shit happens to movies, like with good intentions all the time. This is why, like filmmakers, it's Cameron, right? James Cameron with Avatar, right? Yeah. This is why people like James Cameron say, I will not make a series of movies with one continuous story unless you let me make them all right now, back to back, with the same people, for the love of God, and no one gets to have any time in between them. Because
Sin City had one sequel and they had recast like 9 people because they died.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like that's why that kind of thing happens, is because filmmakers who are really serious about what I know, Brandon, you've told me before, you love the long epic story, and with multiple characters that are consistent and change, and the environment and the world changes. Like anybody who wants to actually tell one of those stories seriously in a movie industry says, I need to do this over the next 4 years, back to back to back to back to back to back. I don't care how long it takes me to produce it afterwards. I'm getting all the principal filming done now before anything can fuck this up.
Sure.
In my
like
story.
Lord of the Rings.
Right, yeah.
It was perfectly continuous, but they came out years apart.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna bring up another point. Star Wars sequels. I'm blanking her name. I want to say Fisher. No,
Carrie
Princess
Fisher.
Leia?
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. It's a great example.
Like she passed in between the movies, and they had some footage still in the can. And there's a scene where her life is at risk when she gets jettisoned into a vacuum.
Mhm.
But then they decide to have the worst scene of the entire movie be CGI Princess Leia forcing herself back inside the ship and saving her own life while she's in a void. Yeah, everyone's just like, really? That was how you decided to resolve that scene?
Well, it was
Okay.
Carrie Fisher, we know this to be true, that the entire last movie, like the central character arc for Rey was supposed to be her reconciling being a Jedi with Leia. And Leia was supposed to be like the other side of this coin, because she was going to be a Jedi but then turned it away. And so Rey doesn't know if she wants to be a Jedi, and then at the end becomes or says okay with being one. I am the Jedi was supposed to be a phrase about that. And that's completely lost because you couldn't do Carrie Fisher's role.
You gotta lean into one way, and Disney's the worst about this, right? They try to 2-lane everything, and you just gotta 1-lane it. You just gotta leave Uncle Remus on the website, or you gotta disavow it completely. Like, you can't halfway it. Like, so they need to just say, it's like, all right, the actress died. We're going to effectively rewrite the plot without them and come up with a resolution within the storyline for why they're not in the movie. And then move on without them. Or use the Disney face swap technology and put in another actor and just do your best. Like, I would rather see them just all in on one of them. I don't care which. If you want to be respectful to the family, obviously do that. Like, make sure that the family's okay with it, or the estate, or however that's done. And you just gotta pick a lane. Like, but the Star Wars thing of, we're going to keep her alive for one of the movies and then just kill her off and destroy the plot anyway. I'm like, you just made the worst of both, right? Because you made it really awkward and then bad.
Yeah, this was, to me, this felt very Eternals-y. Like, I just didn't give a shit the whole time.
Yeah, none of it was important. And I think it was mostly because of the end. Like, if you got to the end and there was at least some, like, important thing that happens or some meaning to the movie because of the resolution. But, like, do you know how many people fucking died and they just, like, shook hands and went home? And I was like, what the fuck?
I thought she was going to rage.
thousands.
I thought she was going to rage, deal with that motherfucker, and then that was going to be the thing. Like, we were going to have a animal fucking, Black Panther on the loose, and that was going to be a thing. Kind of like Ronin.
Like a Ronin type arc where it's just like, fuck it, I'll kill everybody.
And then, no, it was like, okay, we're, what now? Okay.
And, like, I understand the logic of, like, her not wanting to be that person, but, like, the way they handled it was so bad.
Yeah, it was set up to be a thing for so many ways. Like, I don't know. I think, honestly, what I think should have happened is she should have got the fucking Panther suit on about a quarter way in the movie and made the movie like that, instead of being
I also
like
still
a character
don't understand,
building.
Like, the concept of Wakanda is so fucking stupid. Like so fucking stupid.
Yeah, you
Like,
really don't
okay.
like the concept of Wakanda. I know.
It's so dumb. Okay, so we have vibranium nanotech suits of armor, but
Mhm.
all of our people are gonna wear fucking ponchos and fight with spears. I'm like, all right, I get I understand like the enhanced weaponry, like their spears are really good and like they're extremely skilled warriors. Like, why does every fucking soldier they have not have a panther suit or an equivalent? It doesn't need to be panther themed. Like it could be like I don't give a shit, whatever themed. But like nanotech vibranium armor that seems limitless in quantity. They have unlimited vibranium access. One. She has 3 of them sitting in the fucking armory the entire movie. It
Yeah.
doesn't put them on. It doesn't
Yeah,
even make
exactly.
sense. Oh my god. That'd be like Iron Man walking around and fighting people like Batman. And then at the end of the movie going, it's time,
Well-
and put on the Iron Man.
well,
It's like, are you serious?
In the comic books, to be, I don't know why they do this in the movie because you're right, it's very dissatisfying. But in the comic books, their
I get
entire
so mad.
military is very small population wise, right? They're a small effort, like they're not a highly populated country, but their entire
It's like
military.
one city, right?
What?
It's like one city, right? That's all they ever show in the movie. I don't know. If
Yeah,
it's
they have
bigger
like
than
one metropolitan center. Yeah, like they have, but they don't have an extensive population. But the entire military, their entire military is outfitted with vibranium, fucking everything. Like, yes, and that's why you don't fuck with Wakanda unless you can possibly avoid it, because try to kill anybody in a vibranium suit of armor, like what the hell? How are you gonna fucking do it?
so dumb.
Use mystic
So-
attacks.
Yeah.
Also, the concept that like Black Panther is rich makes no sense because they don't sell any of their resources. So how
Yeah.
do you have money?
yeah.
Also,
it's,
no one can spend their currency, so you can't trade currencies. Explain to me how they have
There's-
$1 fucking dollar of American currency. That makes any sense.
I have never discovered personally. I have never figured out how they've ever reconciled the fact that Wakanda is a completely isolated nation. Now, to be fair, in the Marvel Comics universe, like everybody knows what Wakanda is. Everybody just knows.
Sure,
they're super
I'm not worried
advanced,
about that, but like,
yeah.
but
But
I'm just
the
saying,
way
like,
they
all right,
describe it in the MCU is impossible. You're like, they're
Yes.
super rich and super advanced. You're like, but that's not possible. You can't just
Yeah,
make
like,
money
how?
because you have stuff.
Well, they have vibranium. It's like, yeah, but they don't sell
They
it.
refuse
Yeah,
to
no,
trade
they're
it for
super
any
against
reason.
selling it.
Yeah.
So what's their natural export? Because they live in the desert.
A jungle.
Yeah.
Fine
they,
linens.
They say desert many times.
It's a jungle. It's like part of the Congo, I think.
They make jokes about the only thing here is sand. Yeah, like there's parts of it that are green near the river, but
Mm.
like the majority of the lands that you see are like mountainous
Oh.
and deserty.
Okay,
Like when Killmonger lands, they're like in the brush. Like
maybe.
it's technically not a desert, right? But it's like
I guess
if
I
you're,
didn't pay really. I imagine
Yeah.
it was. I thought
it's a savanna. It's
Oh, okay.
not like
See,
there
thought
is
most,
plant life, but
I thought most of it was actually. I thought the city was in like a jungle, but that's it. Never
the
mind.
city is because it's on the river, right?
Right. Okay. Never mind. Yeah.
Anyway, it's just the concept that they have money and they can just like
Ca-
buy a block of land in LA. It's just like,
Can
Like,
I?
what are you talking about? Also, I really hope that Wakanda is rich in iron, oil, gold, silver, all these other things you need for like any kind of like lithium, nickel, all these like rare minerals you need, because how are you buying them from other countries?
Hmm.
You have no exports and no currency because they can't buy stuff in your country. Like it doesn't. It's so asinine. Anyway,
I'm going to take a hard left turn to a Chiefs news. I don't know if you heard this, but the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. For those of you who are not Kansas City locals, Nelson Atkins is a world-renowned art museum. We happen to have it here in Kansas City. Great museum, super cool. It's it's one of the reasons I think to go to Kansas City is stay there. It's got an amazing collection. The director and CEO of the Philadelphia Museum of Art wagered a masterpiece against the director at Nelson Atkins, and they took him up on it. So there is a masterpiece bet now between the two museums, one in
Oh my
Philadelphia
God.
and one in Kansas City, over
if
who
they
will win the Super Bowl.
if they stipulated what masterpiece they put up on each side,
They did not say. I just see the news report here, and it says it's on Twitter. I guess let me see, or let's see. They announced it on It said it on social media.
I'm searching Twitter.
It says hashtag Museum Bowl. That's the hashtag apparently. It doesn't say here which masterwork they're going to do, but a Chiefs victory is a delegation from the Philadelphia Museum of Art will bring it to the Nelson Adkins, and presumably it's a loan, not to keep forever. But
Okay.
that's just kind of I thought that was a cute bet. I thought that was a cute city to city bet.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see that. Receiving an artwork on loan from the Losing Cities Museum.
Hmm.
I like that. That's cute.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Also, like, not nothing. It costs a lot of money to move some of this stuff, depending upon
Sure.
like the
Yeah,
size
yeah.
and the rarity and things. So I hope it's not just like a tiny piece of bullshit. I hope it's something.
Didn't we
big
have
and
King
cool.
Tut here recently? I want to say.
We had King Tut. We had like the water lilies, like Van Gogh's water lilies. Like we've had like serious
Big stuff.
art. We've had serious world famous art stuff. I saw
Not
the water
like
lilies.
the Cincinnati Zoo or anything.
Yeah. I went and
The
saw the water lilies
total
myself.
fraud.
I did not believe anybody who doesn't like art. I'm totally fine with them not liking art. However, watching and looking at art on a computer screen or books my whole life, the very first time I went to see some of these things in person, I was blown away by usually the size. Like the scale is impossible to show in a book, right? Even if you put it in a room. Like the size of the water lilies is immense. It is humongous.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 10
Say, I
foot
thought
by
usually-
24 or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
huge.
it's
Say
insane.
usually they're smaller than you think they are. I want
Right.
to say.
But there's one of my favorite piece in the whole museum is enormous too. It's almost like 2 stories tall, like it's 1.5 stories tall. I love it. It's amazing. There's just a bunch of really amazing pieces in that museum.
Okay.
But those are always the ones that I'm always blown away by, is because when you look at them, you're like, what the holy shit? Why, how is this thing so huge? It's just that's why they're so famous, right? They're just majestic. They're enormous. They completely captivate a room. It's super cool.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Did you have something, Jeremy?
Oh, I was just going to say, because I went to school for painting, so one thing that was
Mhm.
always funny is the one thing you can do as an artist is make sure you use really good materials, and you don't use nails, you use wood, and you make your canvases so they'll last forever. And eventually, if you do that as an art student, you'll become famous because your shit will still be around 1,000 years from now, where everybody else's shit will fall
Yeah.
apart, and you will
Yeah.
get yourself in a museum. That was always the joke of like, okay, how
Mhm.
am I going to seal this thing? Like, and it wouldn't matter how shitty it is if it lasted, 800 years.
You're the example for the time period, admittedly.
Exactly, you have to be. Yeah.
That's funny.
That
I like
that
that.
that's all, when I was studying literature, it's the same thing. It's just like people always talk about how good Beowulf. I had a classics professor. He's like, people talk about how
Uh-huh.
good Beowulf is. Beowulf is horrible. Beowulf is terrible. Like, as a story, like it's awful. Like, I mean, read the Beowulf and then compare it to any story ever written. It's awful.
Mhm.
However, it's the one we had left after all the churches got burned by the Vikings. Like, so
Yep.
since it was the one we had, and
Yep.
so this is the example. This is part of the canon.
It's also authorless, right?
Yeah, we have no idea. But
Because
that's
they burned that.
yeah, they burned all that shit. It just got burnt when the Vikings went through England and terrorized. I say terrorized. They didn't actually terrorize people that much, but they did burn everything of value or steal it. So
The best martial
That's funny.
artist that Detroit has to offer.
What?
It's just, are you the best martial artist? Or are you just the only one?
Oh,
Detroit
I see.
has?
This is- I just thought you were segueing. I was like,
No,
that's a
no,
weird
no, no.
segue.
yeah,
No,
Who is it? Okay.
no.
I'm with
It
you.
was from, oh God, with the puppets. What the fuck was that movie? Team America.
the best martial artist Detroit has to offer. Yep. You put enough qualifiers on something, and you'll always be that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep doing it. You would like this, Jeremy. I thought of you the other day.
Oh.
My show that I'm currently watching with Sarah, we like to watch a show a couple times a week to the two of us,
Mhm.
is we're rewatching Bob's Burgers.
Oh.
And we got to oil spill, and I remembered.
Oh.
I don't remember if you'd seen Bob's Burgers before, but you'd not
I
seen that
hadn't
episode.
seen that episode.
Right, and this was back in tabletop days. I remember.
It's not subtle.
Yeah. I sang this song, and that was one of the very first times I remember you just being like, "What? No, that didn't really happen." And, oh, man,
Yep.
that-
And then I saw the episode and I was like crying.
Oil spill.
Oil spill.
Is that the girl who always sings about her vagina? What? It's not subtle.
Oh my god.
Uh
That was the food truck one, right? Was that the food truck one?
huh. Yeah, that was the food truck
Yeah.
episode. Yeah. Yeah. From episode like episode 1, minute 5, Sarah and I were already laughing. Like that show.
Uh-huh.
That show hit the ground running.
It's still
we haven't
good.
even-
Like I'm shocked that it's still good. Like you can
Yeah.
watch episodes now. Unlike The Simpsons, like Simpsons are very hit or miss these days,
hmm
but Bob's Burgers, any episode is good. They're just good.
We haven't watched any of the newer ones. So we're really excited to get to. We stopped watching as soon as Cecilia got old enough to like tell what's going on because it's not
Yeah.
super appropriate for little kids. But
No.
but I told Sarah every single time regular size Rudy shows up, I know I'm going to pee my pants. I don't know why I love regular size Rudy, but I love him.
Oh my god.
Brandon, I don't know if you've seen the show very much, but they never introduce any of the other sizes of Rudy, but they always call him regular size Rudy because there are other Rudys apparently that have different sizes, and that's how the Bob's kids tell all the people apart is by size. So all the kids at their school are called like regular size Rudy or larger than normal Randy or something like that. It's pretty wonderful. I've never seen that joke before. Oh, I love it.
Okay. I'm glad you like your joke.
We should cut podcasts or something.
We should what?
We should podcast or something.
Or something. What do you mean?
We should like we should probably start talking about stuff. Oh
Wait, you had numbers. What are our numbers? You're gonna look at our
Yeah,
numbers.
Our numbers are horrifically disappointing,
Oh,
unfortunately. Will say over the last week we have gained 250 more plays, which is good. That's above average. Because our average listens are I think like 180, 175, something like that.
Mhm.
So we had above average listeners. Our hope is that they keep listening. But yeah, so I have checked. It appears that we still have our 2 Guernsey listeners,
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
which is great. Yeah, still kicking.
one of these days we're gonna meet. I don't know where. I don't know when.
Oh, here we go.
Really
This
awesome.
I didn't realize this. Let me check. I can actually check. Uh-oh. Oh, yep, we're good. The 2 Guernsey listeners in the last 30 days are still listeners.
Oh man, it's on.
When
the
all
thing that blows me away is it's 29% of our listeners are non-domestic. So
that's kind of
pretty cool.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that blows me away.
I love everything about that statement.
The one thing I was looking at and I noticed that's different is we don't ours just say like episode 124. Like they don't say LVO episode or anything like that.
Well,
Like
they do, but you have to look
YouTube,
at the
right?
details.
or is that what it is?
So the title of the episode is the episode number, and then the description. I've since probably episode 100. I've started putting in topic descriptions
Mhm.
and titles in the description. So like it used to be it was just the episode number, and you would just have to guess. You just listen to find out what's on it. But
Yeah.
now it's if you check the episode details, it's like, oh well, like last week was Tales from the Con.
Mhm.
And then it was like we talked about.
gotcha.
And like, actually, it's probably still
Mhm.
on here. Hold on, I can probably look it up. Nope, I already deleted it. But it was probably like Emma Frost spoilers and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Gotcha.
We're sophisticated now. We're
We've definitely
since we-
upgraded.
ever since we
stopped
hit
phoning
that
it in so
100.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, 100.
yeah.
15,000 times a person has chosen to listen to our podcast, which is impressive to me.
Man.
I figured that number would be closer to like 15,
Yeah.
not 15,000.
My
We
mom
don't-
loves us.
Oh boy.
She doesn't know how to use the internet, so she just keeps clicking on it and then clicking off of it and clicking on it, trying to get it to work.
When
Well,
we
that helps.
when we were at Vegas and we were all doing well, Sarah deigned to finally listen to the cast. I
Oh
can't
my.
remember who was there. Was that you who was there, Brandon, when it started happening?
I was there,
Yeah.
and you were like, she says she doesn't know what probationary episodes are, but she's concerned.
Yeah.
Why do you owe so many of them?
she's she said so far they've started talking and I don't understand any of it. And so I
Yep.
said, well, okay, well, probationary, in like one sentence, I did a pretty good job of like summarizing probationary episodes. It's like probationary episodes are something I gather when I do something that's not good for the cast, and I bet with them and just and gamble with them, and she about things with the game. And she says, I understood none of those words in this text or any of the podcasts I've listened to for the past 5 minutes. I said, okay.
Hmm.
I guess we'll just keep it that way. I think she thought it was fun to listen to. Obviously, she could tell we were having fun, but
Mhm.
she has no idea. So I'm not worried about my mom listening to it. Is the moral of the story?
Yeah. What is happening? Oh, speaking of, Parker has started watching Always Sunny. For people that did not know, Parker, how far are you in Always Sunny?
I have this to say. Season 5 of Always Sunny in Philadelphia will have to be topped somehow by some other thing I've ever encountered, because it
Okay.
ranks way up there with like Dresden Files and
Greatest thing ever.
yeah,
basically.
just like it ranks up there with some of the best media I think I've ever encountered. Like Wolverine Enemy of the State, like was probably my favorite comic series ever. Like it has to be up there with those. My God, is season 5 so amazing? It's just the
All right,
greatest. It's like
so-
a Led Zeppelin album. It's just every
Yeah.
episode is epic
Oh,
and
yeah.
great.
I'm reading
There's
the episode
not-
list now.
There's not one bad one.
The gang exploits the mortgage crisis
oh,
is
yeah.
good. The gang hits the road is amazing. It's one of the first episodes I ever watched.
That one,
Uh,
that episode, I was crying several times.
Yeah, just
several times. I don't know, like I didn't know. I thought it was going to stop making me like exhale through my nose several
Yeah.
times, and it didn't. It just kept going. When they when they pull over, so when D throws the piss out the window, it immediately hits Mac in the face. I'm just like, I can't see. I can't
Oh my
see.
God.
And then
It's all set up because she's
Right.
like singing to that kid that they
Right.
picked up as a hitchhiker,
and then-
while she's peeing
and
in
that
a
was
jar.
and that was wonderful, right? And then
And then she
they
just
get out
hooks the
and
jar out
less
the window.
less than 4 seconds. It's like that was a great punchline, right?
Yeah,
They could have ended an episode on that punchline.
yeah.
But then 4 seconds later, you see smoke in the background, and Frank goes, "What's that?" he looks over, and they pull the garage, they pull the U-Haul trailer up,
They're
and they're
just
both
covered in
and
soot.
they're both laying on the ground, and they don't even cough. They're just motionless. Smoke is
Yeah.
billowing out. Because
So
burned
little
wicker
backstory. People that
chairs.
watch the show,
Oh
they
my
are going to the
God.
Grand Canyon, and so they
quote unquote
Hitch-
going to the Grand
They're
Canyon.
going to the Grand Canyon. So they hitch up a U-Haul trailer to D's new red.
Oh, that's the second vehicle, by the way. The fact
Yeah.
that they have to use a second
But-
one is also
yeah.
wonderful.
So they're driving there, and they're like, "Guys, it's way too cramped in this car. Let's have some people ride in the trailer." So Charlie and Dennis are riding in the trailer, and they brought some hot dogs, and they want to cook the hot dogs on the grill, but they've propped open the back door, and the grill slides out from underneath the propped open door. So like, what are we doing? He's like, "I got an idea. Let's bash these chairs into pieces, and then we'll light those on fire and cook the hot dogs on that." And so when they open the door and they're blacked out, they eventually wake them up. They're like, "What happened?" He's like, "Well, we lit the wicker chairs on fire. They must have been covered in some kind of lacquer or glaze or something. So we
Yeah.
passed out like instantly."
Yeah. It was just smoke. They're such
It's
idiots.
Black smoke pouring off these flaming wicker chairs. They just black out instantly in the back of a trailer while it's driving down the highway. Like, oh man, it's great. The Gang wrestles for the troops is widely considered one of the better episodes. It's not my favorite. I like a lot of the other ones a lot more.
It has my favorite Frank scene in the whole thing, which is whenever he plays Seal's Kiss from a Rose in the Grave while he gives the guy a pair of jean shorts and salutes him awkwardly for like a full 45 seconds.
It just keeps going. The World Series defense is fun.
Yeah, the world. I'd never seen any piece of that episode, like any at all.
Mhm.
I like that episode a lot.
It's called the 1-2 Charlie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might die.
Oh, every time they said, what is the phrase they use? Because the Phillies fans always,
They beat down. Or
yeah,
pound.
it's not, yeah,
They
use
pound them. Yeah,
give him a pounding. That's what it is.
yeah.
And so whenever he beats up the Philly fanatic, it's like, hey, is that a hate crime? Nah, we should probably give him a pounding.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Oh
I
my
love,
god.
I love that. Is that a hate crime? Nah, but we should probably give him a pounding.
Oh, there's the Great Recession when Frank loses all of his money, and
Uh-huh.
then he gets D to go into massive debt
Oh my
to get
gosh.
them capital, and
Yeah,
then he
all of
unveils
their-
their business strategy, and they're going to be a door-to-door knife and vacuum selling
They're
family.
just like,
And she's like, "What?" Oh, it's great.
yeah, nothing. There's not. It's just back to back to back to back to back.
It's great. It's so great. It's like it when you describe it, it sounds fucking stupid.
Mhm.
But then you watch it, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
I think the road trip episode is my favorite one because it never actually like planes out. It just escalates for exactly the every minute of the episode. It never
Yeah.
once does anything else. It's amazing. God, that's an amazing
All
episode.
right. So, review for people at home. Watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's amazing. Moving on. Oh, boy. It was great. Okay. Let's get started. You guys ready?
Yes.
Well, only one person's ready.
I'm ready. Did I say not ready?
Oh, okay. You did not say that. All right. Let's do it.
Do it. Wah wah.
Okay. I knew we had a long cast, and so I didn't want to go into it. So I purposely didn't bring it up when we were on currently playing. But I built a really weird list, and something comical happened when I built it, and so I wanted to tell you guys. I started to build a list with Convocation, and I put Blade in it. And after I got done, I was like, "Hey, I bet I could just like make this also a Midnight Suns
Midnight
list
Suns.
because there's a bunch of Midnight Suns crossovers." And so I just put the characters in there. And I was like, "Cool, 10 characters, Midnight Suns, and Convocation. This seems perfectly fine." And then I put in tactics cards, and I just put in the tactics cards that I wanted to put in. And then I looked, and I had 18 tactics cards.
I was like, he'll get there.
I was
Just
like,
let him go.
I was
That's
like,
a good amount.
huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Convocation does not dual affiliate.
And so I
Shit.
immediately like back out and just like, let's just not do the Midnight Suns anymore and see how many tactics cards it goes down to. And it went down to like 12. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I can figure out
Mm.
how to do that. But
It's
18
actually very
tactics.
weird.
I had 18 tactics cards.
Yeah.
Each
no,
one
it's,
better
it's
than
no
the next.
joke. No, like
Yeah.
when we were driving
However,
back.
the one that the list I think that is most spicy, it's spicy because of who it combines. I call it Red Wizards because it's Convocation and Hydra. And I don't know why you would want to do this, but I did it. I made two lists in one that is Convocation / Hydra, and I don't know why, but technically it works. But
Is it using
Yeah.
She-Hulk?
no,
Well, I'm not worried about it then.
yeah, you're not worried about it. Who cares really if it's not using if it's using
Coward.
But anyway, the I just thought that one was funny. But the when I got done and I looked at it, I just giggled out loud a lot because I was like, 18 Texas cards. Oh, well, shit.
That's why it's not a thing.
It was pretty extraordinary though. It wasn't that weird. It just I haven't put MODOK in there, so I put in his cards, and I had Magic in there, so I put in her card, and then I put in the Convocation cards that are worthwhile, and then I put in the Voodoo card that's worthwhile. Like I just ended up really
Mhm.
fast with 18. I was like, Jesus Christ. And none of the cards were bad. None of them. I wasn't like reaching for any of them. I put in 2
Yeah.
restricted cards. That was it. I was like, this is really weird. I still feel like I might try to do it. Just to take out all good tactics cards and have see how hard I can make my decisions about tactics cards.
Yeah, 18's
still-
a lot.
18's too many.
I still think that they should just do away with the restricted list.
Keep the
At
band
this
list.
point, they probably could.
No, not the banned list. And I would keep the gems on. That's all I would do. I would keep the 2 gems restricted, and that's it. Nothing else needs to be restricted.
Well, if the gems were restricted, then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, the
Would
gyms
it?
don't no longer matter if they're restricted.
Oh, you're right. Think just unrestrict everything.
Yeah, I mean, look at what we just saw. I mean, of
Yeah.
the numbers, yeah, like not everybody was taking the same things anyway.
But I don't. But I think people make those hard decisions. It's like a meta counter meta thing. It's like a
Yeah.
cycle and a wheel that actually cause them not to be seen. You're like, well, we didn't see any of these cards that are really good. You're like, yeah, well, that's because this wheel has been turning ever since they made the decision to restrict the things the way they did. So I don't think
That's true.
So-
Because, like, if you could, do people just simply take, Brace, Indomitable, Patch Up? Like, do they all just go right back in the list and it becomes what it used to be, which was
I
like
think-
5 of the same
I
cards?
think they do. I think that's
So
what
I-
happens.
I don't think so. So I think so. Apex coming out made exceptional healing and auto include in any list that has him, and you're probably going to include X23 or Lizard or someone else. So that gets to the level of auto include / restricted in any of those lists.
Uh-huh.
Same thing with Deception and Do You Know Who I Am? Like, who is not taking those 2 cards with those 2 models? So there's so many, and it's Pyrotechnics with Pyro, Robbery with Rhino. Like, there are so many characters that have cards stapled to them that there are some hard choices to make your 5. Like, how do you not play with Mission Objective and Fallback? Like, Mission Objective is the counter card to Rhino, and Fallback's just really good. Well, I've already just said about 18 cards you have to have. We only get 5. So if you throw Disarm back into the mix, am I going to take it? Probably not.
No.
You're saying that they've made so many since they've started to nail character
The
cards.
character stuff. Yeah.
That and now those are becoming a bigger reason to play than
Yeah.
those impact the game more. Interesting.
And
don't
the
know.
4 non-character cards that should be a consideration for every roster are No Matter the Cost, Eyes on the Prize, Mission Objective, and Fallback. I don't think you can take those out of your 10. Even if you have more restricted slots, you could put them in. Because they are all situationally, quote-unquote, required.
I'm back.
Hi. I made the comment that they should unrestrict all the cards. And we're discussing. Although we could probably save this for next week's cast.
I was gonna say that sounds like a bang up cast
I
conversation.
say it's starting to storm here, and I feel like my internet's going to just keep going out. So I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because
Let's-
could be a mess.
Let's put a big ass pin in this, and then everybody else a big stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of Aaron wants to destroy the restricted list.
Parker's 18 card Monty.
Okay, we'll put down. It's on the list. We'll talk about it next time. We can close and then chat, but we need to wrap it.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed our episode. Goodbye.